impressive display last time out means Tom Huddleston, Mo Diame and Sean Maloney all face a battle to progress from the bench. Adama Diamande and Robert Snodgrass remain unavailable with groin and knee injuries. More on those two later. Well, what about the visitors? Birmingham City will give David Cottrell until the last minute to prove his fitness. The winger has missed the last 2 games with a...
You're with Andy Penders on Red Card Sports Radio.
When you hear the sound of jazz flute, you know it's Saturday night. It's the Andy Penders Show. Hey, by the way, if you like what you're hearing there, this is from Nico Koyes, who's on a one-man world tour. I met him in Bali, and he said, take my tunes, man, and distribute them around the world. So that's what we're doing. No early game today, everyone. Welcome, by the way. That means there's nothing to distract you from chilling with us for a while. So much to get through today. My co-host today are soccer coach Dan Bond, Royce's football writer Patrick Johnston, football marketing and PR expert Evelyn Tay, but Evelyn doesn't like me calling her that.
I'll try and be expert tonight.
Okay, good. Alan Bentley is live on the line from the UK to preview some tasty 10 o'clock kickoffs. A big London derby, West Ham against Chelsea tops the bill. We bring you all of the predictions. We hear from all of the managers. We'll have the latest team news for you as well. Our reporters are watching every single game. We get to Warren Ashurst, Nick Harris, Will Turner, Gareth Freeman, Paul Sherbakovich and John Hogan. Harvey Davis joins us in the studio as well. We find out how we can produce Southeast Asia's next footballing superstar. Gaelic international coach Jörg Steinbrunner talks German Bundesliga with us as Bayern Munich look for their 1,000th win in the league. We're here from West Ham fans, Chelsea fans, Everton fans, United fans. So get in touch with producer Nicholas if you want to have your say on what's been happening. He's Nicholas at Red Card Global on the email. We talk Hurricane Patricia, the biggest ever recorded hurricane, and what sort of impact that's going to have on sport. Patrick's going to talk AFC football, the Champions League final, the Kuwait FA, the next FIFA president, Evelyn on advising Swansea City on how to make some money in Asia. We've got Dan on Rugby World Cup semi-finals. We've also got Dan on why I think it's a bad time for Southampton to be taking on Liverpool. So much to get through. That's why it's a 3-hour show. 3-hour show, everyone. Let's go. We can do it. We can do it. Get in touch. You can do so via Twitter at Andy Penders. Email Nicholas. We got Pratap, the intern today. So if anything goes wrong, Pratap, all on you, buddy. He'll be cutting some cameras. Just a reminder of the Red Card Live app. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you download it now. Let's say hi to my co-host on debut.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How are
It's really
you?
Exciting to be here.
Big Manchester City fan.
Yes, absolutely. Since the 90s, if I may date
I mean
myself.
United. Sorry, I meant United. I said City. I didn't mean to. But
Right.
you followed them pre-season, right, for a while?
I did. When I missed out on a lot of the United years, including 99, because I was living away in the US. When I came back in 2004, I thought it'd be good to pick that up again. And so what I started doing when I had some free time and a couple of extra dollars in the summer, I try and follow them around the region. Did that in 2005, and then again 2007 and 8, I believe. I've been to 3 or 4 of them.
Okay, so you must have met some of the players.
Yes, I have. I've been very lucky. I've met John O'Shea, Rooney, Rio, Ferdinand. I want to say Rio, and it sounds pretentious to be calling him on a first-name
Big R,
basis.
yeah.
I've met Sir Alex Ferguson, so that was a highlight.
What was he like with you?
He was actually drunk when I met him.
Was he really?
Well, maybe not drunk is a strong word. He was a bit tipsy, just sort of stumbling into the lobby, and I happened to be going downstairs to get some information and saw him. So I quickly grabbed a piece of paper from the concierge and said, I need an autograph. And he was nice enough in whatever state he was. I have to say he's very good about signing autographs. If you observe him during summer season tour, he obliges. He's generally in a relaxed mood. I've met Bobby Charlton 3 times, which is awesome. The first time I saw Bobby Charlton was in Singapore during the Olympic Congress in 2005. And he was, believe it or not, he was sitting in a cafe, I don't want to name them, eating a sandwich. And I thought, I'd struggled for 10 minutes. I thought, should I go up and say hi and introduce myself? And I thought, I can't interrupt Bobby Charlton when he's eating a sandwich. So I let that pass, and 2 years later I had another chance to meet him, so that was pretty awesome.
I met him when Manchester United launched their restaurant here.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He came out and I said, can I do an interview with you?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, don't ask me any stupid questions. No hard questions, okay? Because I was going to grill him that the United restaurant would come and go very quickly. I mean, it did in the end, right?
Yeah, I think the amazing thing about Bobby Charlton is, after all these years and after all that he's been through and done for the club, he's still there, week in, week out. I reckon he still goes to every match. And the last time I saw him was actually at Old Trafford. And what happens after a match, and it was really cold weather, I think it was maybe in December. So it was rainy, it was cold, it was miserable. We were standing in line for the tram to take us back into city centre. And Bobby Charlton walks past us and people just shout out, Bobby, Bobby, and he'd stop and say hello to people. And I thought that's so incredible to have done it for, 40, 50 years probably. So I really respect that in him.
Okay, we'll talk Manchester Derby a little bit later on. We'll also talk about what you've been doing with Swansea as well in the past. That should be good.
Yeah,
we'll get onto that.
That will be a really short story. Do you want to talk about that now or later?
Not just yet. I need to say hi to a few other people.
Oh right, sure.
Hey, Patrick Johnson's here. Hi, Patrick.
How's it going,
I hear you've been upsetting people this week.
It's just this FIFA story, isn't it? It just never doesn't seem to slow down. So there's one or two bits we've pulled out this week. So. Yeah, it's nice to be around friendlier company, should we say this tonight?
What, you've been getting phone calls from the wrong people?
Oh, just the wrong people, There's lots of people who don't want things getting out, so it could be quite difficult, So.
Well, hopefully you'll reveal all on the show today.
Yeah, maybe, quite possibly, yeah.
Okay, good. We'll talk AFC Champions League final as well.
Indeed, yeah. Loved your commentary on Wednesday, Tuesday night, whichever it was this week.
Yeah, Tuesday night, 11:45 kickoff with Jamie Reeves.
Quite an ending that was to the game.
Oh, what an ending! It was brilliant. Hi, Pratap's joining us in the studio. How you doing, bro? Dan Bond's here. Hey, the launch of the new Bond film's out.
Yes.
Soon.
Are you
Spectre.
related?
Yeah, we're related. He's my
Right.
cousin.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for the family the next couple of weeks. It's out on the 6th, isn't it? I think here.
Yeah, Steve McBain's having a big, his missus having a big do.
Oh right. Okay.
Raising awareness. I forget the charity, but it's raising money for trying to prevent maternal deaths, I think, in childbirth. And we're doing a big screening. I'm hosting it.
Oh, cool.
And more details. I'll put that up on the website. Good. But you've been away, have you?
Yeah, I've been to Cambodia. Old man's here at the moment, so we went there for 3 or 4 days, which was good.
Is he a Saints fan?
He is a massive Saints fan. Yeah. He was there for the 1976 Cup final, and ever since. So, yeah.
You want to talk about that, Evelyn?
It was 1-0 to Saints versus Man United.
Right. I only react to Southampton because I think one of the most handsome players in the EPL resides in. You gotta have that angle when you have a girl on the show, right? Sorry.
We are talking about the other 19 clubs in the Premier League tonight as well, aren't we, guys?
We're just talking about the best-looking player.
Straight in quite early from the Southampton chat.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, you brought it up, but Graziano Pella looking like a god.
I presume it's Graziano Pella, not Steve Davis.
No,
or Matt
you're right. Any Italian's fine.
Yeah.
Joining us from the UK is Alan Bentley. Hi, Al.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, bro. I see the clocks are going back tonight.
Yes, absolutely, Andy. You know what that means.
Means it gets dark early hour, doesn't it,
I don't know. A private joke, Andy, but there you go.
Yeah, it was. Everything okay with you, Al?
Everything's great, mate. I mean, it is a little bit chilly over here, but it really is good. Some great matches to look forward to. And all's well in the Liverpool land with old Jurgen Klopp. I mean, it's gone berserk up there. I was in Liverpool the other day. It's gone absolutely Klopp mania up there at the moment. It's just a shame. I was in a restaurant last Saturday and missed him. He came in after I left, so a shame. A shame for him, mainly.
I can imagine. Who else have you bumped into this week?
Well, no one really. I mean, I did tell you, didn't I, in the space of 2 days, bumped into both Joe Cole and Jermaine Defoe last week. I doubt I had the same effect on those guys as Evelyn did on the likes of Rio Ferdinand, but there you go. But it was still good to speak to them. And as I mentioned last week, neither were particularly complimentary over what's going on at either Sunderland or Aston Villa, and Joe Cole now has gone on loan to Coventry, of course.
Yeah. Okay, bro. Well, stick around because we'd love to get your input on some of the games, the big games that are coming up. A big 10 o'clock kickoff is West Ham against Chelsea. Let's get to Rob Eddy.
4th prepares to face 12th in the Premier League on Saturday as West Ham and Chelsea do battle at Upton Park. He would have been forgiven for thinking at the start of the season that it would be Chelsea in 4th, but it's the Hammers that are currently flying high and above their London rivals. West Ham have made their best start to a Premier League season with 17 points after 9 games, although it's their away form that has caught the eye. Despite the impressive start to the campaign, Slaven Bilic is aware that results need to be better at home with just 1 win in 4 matches at the Berlin ground.
We have to improve our home form in the matter of the results, but except, let's say, 2 first half against Leicester, Bournemouth, and also on part of the game of the first half against Norwich, we played some really good stuff home as well. But we have to be more patient when we play home. Yeah, we have that patience away from home, but we are trying to approach the game the same way.
West Ham are without defender Winston Reid again because of a minor back injury, and Victor Moses is ineligible to face his parent club. Enner Valencia could make his first start of the season, but the game will come too soon for Alex Song, who is set to return to training next week. Meanwhile, Chelsea will have to cope with a long journey in midweek following a Champions League draw in Kiev on Tuesday, but there have been some signs of improvement from Jose Mourinho's men in recent games, with the Blues not conceding a goal in the last 2 matches.
It's important, not just the clean sheets, but the way the team played to keep the clean sheets. It was not an occasional clean sheet. It was not a clean sheet based on a super goalkeeper performance. It was both clean sheets based on a good teamwork. I tried the best decisions for the team. I analyzed the opponents. I analyzed what I think the game can be. I tried to reduce that unpredictability of every match. But again, this is not about defenders. This is about the team as a team, and the team as a team defended really well in both matches.
Chelsea remain without the injured quartet of Pedro, Loic Remy, Thibaut Courtois and Branislav Ivanovic. Mourinho would not confirm whether Eden Hazard will be recalled to the side, having been selected on the bench in the last Premier League outing with Aston Villa. The head-to-head stats suggest Chelsea are favourites, with West Ham winning just 1 of the last 18 Premier League meetings with the Blues. The visitors, who won this fixture 1-0 last term, have not conceded a goal against the Hammers in 5 matches.
Dan, gotta love this game.
Yeah, this is game of the weekend. Well, game of today. If you take the Manchester derby out of it, this is going to tell us a lot of things about both teams, but in particular Chelsea. Last week against Villa, we saw a Chelsea team that kind of went back to what we kind of expect a Chelsea team to look like. So they had Zuma and Terry in the middle. They had Baba Rahman, who's an orthodox right back at right back. They had Fabregas further forwards. They had Ramirez in the centre behind him. And they got a 2-0 victory against a poor Villa side. So it's a stepping stone victory for Chelsea. Then in the week they go to Kiev and get a credible 0-0 draw. And now they're in a position where if they get a result against West Ham, they've gone 3 unbeaten, so it's something to build on. We'll see what they're made of, because West Ham have been cracking all season. They've got some amazing players. The likes of Payet and Lanzini have been really good for them. And I think we will see a Chelsea team that will go there and think they can win, but can they create chances? I mean, they still haven't really created much. If you look at the Aston Villa game last week, they scored 2 goals. One was an own goal and the other one was a mistake. So we'll see if they can create anything against a decent West Ham side, but it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho certainly thinks that the confidence is returning to the side. Well, he does. I'm just trying to hear from
this moment. We got 2 important results, 3 points in the Premier League after 2 matches without a victory, and against a direct rival to the qualification in the Champions League, we got a point away and give us the chance of in 15 days to play against them. So the group was always solid and compact and together, but obviously the mood improves with results and people is happy.
Chelsea seems to be getting their mojo back, don't they, Evelyn?
Yeah, I think I've always admired Chelsea for the. To be honest, I'm quite a fair player. I'm quite a fair fan in that sense. I love United and always will, but I also think a couple of other clubs play really good football. I think Chelsea, Jose's craziness aside, I think they're a really good club. They've been able to bring in a lot of good players. And they're going back to their steady ways, and I guess credit to Mourinho, regardless of whether or not people should be getting treatment while they've fallen down or hurt themselves. So I think they'll be exciting to watch. And
what about these teenagers? Did you see those, Patrick?
Yeah, chasing him in the street a bit. He talked about being happy there, Mourinho, but I watched his pre-match press conference on Friday, and he was in a pretty foul mood, and I don't really...
Isn't he always?
Well, I think he's getting... Someone tried to ask him a kind of cheeky question a bit, saying you had the South African rugby team down at training, fancy any of those players, would they help you out right now? And he just turned around and went, not giving you any fun headlines anymore. You don't look after me, I don't look after you.
Well, it's because he's upset that someone like The Independent would put the video, or whoever it was, put the video up of those two kids, and they was clearly stalking him.
But yeah, obviously, I don't advocate kids going around chasing Premier League managers in the street, but I just think when Mourinho's talking about a happy mood, I just don't think that a win over a terrible Aston Villa side and a point in the Champions League away from home, where again they didn't really show much attacking intent, suddenly will make Stamford Bridge the happiest place in the Premier League. I think there's a lot of problems there. I think we'll see how West Ham go today. Bilic there, he was, as you said, I mean, there's something not quite right when they play at home, but the West Ham that play away is fantastic to watch. So I give Chelsea some hope for that. But I mean, it's just quite interesting when you go into a game between these two where Chelsea have dominated it for years. I think West Ham have only beaten them once in about 20 attempts. That we're actually sitting there thinking probably West Ham are probably the favourites for me.
Well, I think West Ham, if you look at it, if I'm Bilic, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking Chelsea do not look like they can create many chances. I mean, last week with the goals, they were lucky. They didn't look like creating anything against Saints a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't score in midweek. You have to think with West Ham, if they can be patient, and that's the key thing for them today. Come the second half, they will get chances, because I can't see Chelsea creating that much. If they score in the opening 20 minutes, half an hour, it will be down to a set piece or down to a mistake. So West Ham have to. I know they'll try to because they've been so good away. They have to try and play this like an away game, because the onus will still be on Chelsea to go and win the game, because they're the champions. Let's not forget that. I know they're going for a rough spell, but if they're patient, they can keep it tight to the second half. I've put West Ham down to win this, and I think they will. So.
Remy is a West Ham fan. Hi, Remy.
Hi, this is Remy.
Yeah, good to hear from you, bro. Hey, if you win this game, we can consider you top 6 contenders for the end of the season.
Well, I'm totally excited about that. Chances are looking really, really good.
Bit worried though you're without Victor Moses, no Winston Reid. I mean, Reid's been awesome this year.
Yeah, it's such a pity when Moses couldn't fight against his old club. You know what I mean? He's been such an influential character since he's been signed over to the Hammers. So, but let's see how it goes.
Do you reckon Winston Reid could play for a top 4 team?
As in Winston Reid playing for the top 4 teams?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, he's certainly got good qualities for defending the ball. Like the commentator said in the match against Man City, he's always in the right place at the right time. We held them down to a 2-1 win, and I was really, really proud.
Hey, let's talk about Dimitri Payet as well, because he's been brilliant for the Hammers this season. Does he fit into this? I hate saying this because I don't think it exists, but this West Ham way.
Oh, man. You see, the thing about Payet is this. Everybody's taking a gamble, say the 10.7 million signing from the French side, coming to the Hammers, whether he'll fit in well. But he certainly brought in some creativity and some flair to the team, and giving some good old-fashioned entertainment for all Hammers fans around the world. So really, really good to have him here, and I'm sure he'll give Chelsea a really, really hard time tonight. The
other thing about Bilic is, I mean, he wasn't first choice, was he, to take over from Allardyce? You had Rafa Benitez, maybe, Carlo Ancelotti, Unai Emery as well.
Well, to be honest, boys, everything happens for a good reason. He may not be the first choice, but certainly a good choice for the Hammers this year.
Where are you watching the game today, Remy?
You bet, surely I am. Maybe joining the boys in Unka Bunka and the Robertson Quay with all the Hammers fans in the house.
How many Hammers fans will you have down there?
To be honest, I thought I was alone supporting the club for the past 20 years. But Singapore Irons, the West Ham club in Singapore, we're about 200 strong for the moment. On good days, I hope to see all 200 of them down. But we'll slowly but surely get there.
Okay, Brad. Any special deals at Unka Bunka for you guys?
Well, I haven't been there myself personally, but as long as you flash a West Ham jersey, I'm sure they'll cut you a good deal.
I'm sure they will. Okay, bro. Well, here's hoping that the team continues sort of in the same mould as like Alan Devonshire, Frank McAvenny, Joe Cole, and it's a good club with West Ham. I like West Ham.
Oh yeah, that's right. You see, the thing is this: West Ham in all this season so far has displayed they can do really, really creative football. At the same time, they can do what we call total football as well, right? So the game against Liverpool, they said they're going to park the bus right there. But lo and behold, the bus is moving all over the shop, So when the ball is in the West Ham corner, there'll be 10 blue and claret just surrounding and defending the ball. When it's attacking, everybody's doing their part. So it's going to be really, really exciting for tonight.
Hey, good luck tonight, Remy. Good to speak to you, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me in the show. Come on, you Iron!
Let's hear from Slaven Bilic, because he's fairly realistic about what the ambitions are for his side this season.
We have a chance in every game. Where that's going to bring us at the end or in a couple of months, I don't know, but we are optimistic, and we are realistically optimistic. We are playing good. In one hand, we can improve in all the things, to be fair. But then on the other side, we know that this is Premiership, and every game is extremely difficult, extremely dangerous. And as I said, we have like we have in every game. If we play good, we have a chance. Also, all the opponents are top class, and every game is very dangerous.
Let's get to Alan Bentley just quickly. Good luck in predicting this one, Al.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you guys saying that the West Ham are favourites. There's still a big price with the bookies over here, but I tend to agree. I think they can give Chelsea a real go, and I also agree that all is still not well with Mourinho and Chelsea. Yes, he was very tetchy in the press conferences. We've seen, as you guys saying, pushing young lads over and this, that, and the other. And Didier Mann, the Liverpool player, the ex-Liverpool player, saying he thinks that he's on a mission from God to actually get himself the sack. He is still fourth favourite in the sack race, largely by virtue of the exploits or lack thereof of Tim Sherwood and Gary Monk, who we'll touch on in a moment or two. But I think that West Ham are a massive price. We've seen them dominate against Liverpool. They played really well against Arsenal as well, and Man City. They've got nothing to be afraid of in this Chelsea side, who are completely bereft of any pace. And I think West Ham are a massive price. And at the prices, I'd have to go with them, Andy.
What sort of price are they, Al?
4.33, Andy, if you shop around. Chelsea, even money, 2.0. And I just think that West Ham, getting a head start as well, of course, on the handicap, they have to be the call.
Carter is a Chelsea fan. Hi, Carter.
Hi.
So everyone's tipping West Ham to do really well against the Blues?
I don't blame them. For me, West Ham has been quite the surprise this season. I mean, with Slaven Bilic at the helm. I mean, I think they deserve their placing right now in the table, and they've slain a few giants this season already. So I would be surprised if they really put up a good fight. But I think Chelsea's on the bend. I think the Aston Villa game and the game midweek showed us we still have some quality, but we are still in we're still in repair, and they might just sneak it against us, though.
Steve McBain went to the Stamford Bridge last week and said it was difficult to know which was the side that won the championship last season against Villa. Said it was really bad, really bad.
Yeah. So, but I think Jose did show some intent by dropping some important players these few matches. So the most important is Hazard. So I think he has always been playing Hazard until the past two matches. I mean the one against Aston Villa. So I think Jose is ready to make big changes if it means wins in exchange.
Where are you watching the game there, Carter?
I'll be watching it at Hotel Jen later.
Yeah, nice, man. There'll be a fair few of you there as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, quite a number of us will be there. So hoping we can at least sneak the win.
Hey, Carter, cheer up, bro. Everything's okay.
We're trying to be positive. I mean, we didn't have a good season, good beginning to the season, but I think everything's positive. We are still wearing a gold badge on our jerseys. So that's how we keep positive.
This is very true, my friend. Well, but you're still predicting West Ham to just slightly pip you tonight.
I thinking Chelsea would try to surprise West Ham. So I'm still thinking a 2-1 win to Chelsea, though.
Okay.
I do see where the rest of the punters are going at. So yeah, but I'm still believing in the Blues.
Okay, buddy. We'll give you a call at half-time, see how you're going, okay?
Sure thing.
Carter there, the Chelsea fan.
Yeah, this is why it's so important Chelsea win this game. He was talking about Hazard there, wasn't he? And if Chelsea win this, then Jose Mourinho can start to say things like, well, I'm not playing Hazard because we haven't lost the 3 games, or we've won, the last 2 Premier League games. So it's that whole stick and carrot thing that he's been doing, keeping some players in and saying, I back you, or chucking them out and saying you're not playing well. If he starts to get a winning team, then he can start to justify all these decisions. That's why this game is key. It's the biggest game of the season for them, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. This could be pivotal for Mourinho, I think, this one.
How pivotal do you think Andy Carroll will be in this game, Patrick?
It's a weird one, isn't it? He's like kind of the forgotten man. He hardly plays, does he? Because he's always so injured. But I mean, he looked very good when he came on last weekend, didn't he?
Because Chelsea have conceded, I think, 5 headed goals this season. That's the highest.
Yeah, well, and that back line keeps getting reshuffled, doesn't it? So, but I think, he can make a massive difference. It's just, you just can't rely on the guy. I mean, that's just the disappointing thing. I think we're going to get onto Daniel Sturridge a bit later, but the two of them are just at the same sort of point in their career where, I don't know, if you're a coach, if you're Bilic and you're looking at, can you rely on Andy Carroll to deliver? There's no doubt he's unbelievably talented. He was quite scarred with what happened at Liverpool and the price tag and all the jokes and everything about him and but he's a really, really skillful, gifted footballer. He moves well. He's great in the air, as you say. He could cause all sorts of damage, and there's nothing stopping West Ham getting in top 6 or something this year. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, he might just fall over tonight, get injured, and that's it. He's out for 6 months. So we'll see. But I do think going back to Chelsea, I mean, I think it is very pivotal, this game. Like Dan's right. I mean, they could go on and collect 3-4 wins in a row now, but at the same time, if they lose this one again, they fall down the table. You can just see it unravelling for Mourinho, just like it did at Madrid. I just think it's really strange to see the squad that was so determined and so united to dig out so many gains at the end of last season when they were just pulling together all of the same, all like a real team. To see them now, I can't think one of them that's actually in form, or one of them that's got any drive or ambition. I don't know if anyone can think of anyone that escapes me, but something has gone badly wrong in the atmosphere of the team, whether it is Mourinho falling out with Terry or what have you. But
doesn't Mourinho do this with every club, though? Look at Inter.
It seems to be, doesn't it?
Real Madrid. But perhaps he just asked too much for them in the first season that he's there, or in the championship winning season, and you just got nothing left.
Maybe. He does rely on such a small squad, and maybe they're just. I don't know what it is, but I can't. Yeah, I just think it might be coming towards the end for him at this second juncture. I know he talked about wanting to be there for 10 years, but you look at his track record; he never stays anywhere for many years. And
please don't let him to come to United.
Well,
we don't want him.
No. I think Louis van Gaal's quite set now, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think Mourinho's an interesting character, right? We've talked about him for many years, and a lot of people have speculated that he would eventually come to United. And when Fergie was leaving, a lot of people thought he might be the natural, choice. As a lifelong United fan, I don't see that at all. I don't see that style jiving with what United has in terms of the history and the attitude towards how it treats its players and its backroom staff. I think, what he has is perhaps, there's maybe a method to his madness, as I call it. But I mean, as a United fan, I just don't see it coming. It's interesting to hear you guys sort of being so worried. I don't know why I'm speaking up for Chelsea. It's a very strange feeling. But I usually judge the season, in November or December. I think if you've done really well or shaken off whatever bad luck you've had in August through October, and you can pick yourself up and still be decent by November, you're probably going to be okay. I don't see them winning the league this year. I think they're still good to watch, but I don't know. Be curious to see what Mourinho has up his sleeves.
I think the thing is with Chelsea, I mean, that core group of that squad that, I mean, Lampard's gone now and Drogba, but Terry's still there. But, they've had a high turnover of managers. They've always managed to get over the line to get into those Champions League places. So even if Mourinho did go, or if he stayed, I still expect them to be, pushing for the top 4, if not probably in the top 4 anyway. So when I say I fear it might unravel, it's unravelled by Chelsea's super sky-high standards rather than, thinking they're going to get relegated. But
Well, I don't think that would.
I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be. There seems to be quite a lot of
Something's
unhappiness.
wrong with
And
well,
let's see. They might win 5-0 today, and everyone might be thinking, Jose, what a saviour! That Patrick, he knows nothing.
Difficult to make a prediction, that's for sure. But Nick Lim's got some statistics up his sleeve. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
How's it going?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you have a question for me? You usually have a question.
Can't.
You didn't prep this.
Well, I can think of one off the top of my head if you like. Chelsea, Jose Mourinho has lost how many games at home as a manager?
I think it's 3, isn't it? Or 4?
I think it's 4, is it?
Yeah, it's somewhere there, right? 3 or 4. He hasn't lost many games at home.
He hasn't, no.
But he's not playing at home this time around, isn't he?
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
So that stat had nothing to do with the game whatsoever.
That's true. But that being said, West Ham haven't been very successful in this fixture in recent years. The Hammers haven't won in 18 meetings with Chelsea. Their last win against the Blues was the 3-1 victory in December 2012. Moreover, Chelsea have not conceded a single goal against West Ham in their last 5 ties. That being said, both sides have started the season very differently. West Ham made their best start to the season with 17 points in 9 games and are unbeaten in the last 6. Only Manchester City have scored more goals than the Hammers this season. West Ham have also won their last 2 London derbies against Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Meanwhile, Chelsea's start has been disastrous to say the least, 11 points from 9 games. They're horrid on the road as well, just 1 win from their last 5 away league ties. There is some hope though. Jose Mourinho has lost just 5 of the 52 London derbies he's been in. Well, based on form, West Ham have a good chance of taking this game, but Chelsea will certainly want to stop the rot. It's a derby though, so maybe this last 2 minutes has been a complete waste of your time.
You on air, never a waste of time, Nick.
Yeah.
Ravi on the tweets has just tweeted, don't feel like it's going to be a good evening for us Chelsea fans. It's going to be interesting to see. We'll have the latest team news as we build up to that 10 o'clock game. Another 10 o'clock game is Aston Villa up against Swansea. Warren Ashurst has the latest.
Well, the pressure is mounting on both managers going into Saturday's clash between Aston Villa and Swansea at Villa Park. Some reports have suggested this week that Tim Sherwood is only one more defeat away from getting the sack, with just 1 win for Aston Villa so far this term. But the Villa boss is standing firm and believes he can get the club through this disappointing spell.
Just purely speculation. I haven't been told by anyone at the club that is the case. Listen, I'm easy with it. You know, I'm here to do my job. My job doesn't change just because of speculation of whether it's going to be my last game or not. You know, I still need to win a football match, which I'm aware of. I'll be standing there taking full responsibility of the team's performance, and we will win tomorrow.
Sherwood has indicated that he could stick with Brad Guzan in goal despite his error in the defeat at Chelsea last weekend. Elsewhere, Gabriel Agbonlahor and Kieran Clark are available after injury, while Jorez Akore could be in line for his first involvement of the season after knee surgery in the summer. Meanwhile, Swansea have not won any of their last 6 matches in all competitions, and there's been talk that the Swans board may be considering getting in someone more senior to help out boss Gary Monk. It seems ridiculous that after leading Swansea to 7th last term that Monk is under pressure, but he insists he's happy with his current coaching team and with the direction that the club is going.
These stories come out time to time, don't they, for whatever reasons, if it's someone trying to unsettle us or whatever it is. All I know is that from my perspective, from the club, the players' perspective, is we don't listen to things like that. We're very much a group together, very committed. If anything, our strength is our unity, so we just use that to make sure that we get the training right this week, and then we go into the game fully focused.
Well, Swansea will handle 8 fitness tests to Wayne Routledge before deciding if he'll feature at Villa Park. The winger missed Monday's defeat to Stoke with a calf injury. Gary Monk has no fresh injury concerns, but he has to make a decision as to whether Ki Sung-young and Gylfi Sigurdsson will be handed starts, having been on the bench against Stoke. It's Swansea that have the upper hand in the head-to-head stats, having won the last 3 meetings between the two sides, and in fact they're unbeaten in the last 5.
Hey, Big Al, this is a big game for both managers.
Well, absolutely. And as I said before, they are the actual 2 favourites for the sack race. Tim Sherwood, long odds on, and then Gary Monk. I think it just shows the fickle nature of football, as we heard in that report. Monk did ever so well last season, started the season here so brightly as well. But I think the problem you find, to me, it's symptomatic of the English way of managing and coaching, is that the manager has to deal with so many outside things in football in England, as well as coaching the side. It doesn't really happen abroad, and he's got some big egos to play with, both Sherwood and Monk, and I think that's where they've struggled. I think Tim Sherwood will go. I've not been impressed by him at all. And I did mention I bumped into Joe Cole the other day, who said, look, he's got a massive squad. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's not picked me, which is part of the problem, I suppose. But I think Tim Sherwood is under real pressure. I think that Swansea can win this one. And if that does happen, I think Sherwood could be on his way by 5 o'clock tonight.
It sounds ridiculous to think that even Gary Monk was being linked with a move out of the hot seat.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Although he's one of these, isn't he? He's a bit like Brendan Rodgers. He talks the talk. He's as if he's read the manual on how to be a manager. And all those words, the project, the group. We heard him talking about the group there and this, that, and the other. I just think that people are perhaps tiring of that. Yes, it's premature to talk about him going, and it is ridiculous to talk about him going. But football is so fickle, particularly in this country, Andy.
Hey, Blackburn against Burnley just kicked off, I think.
OK, Blackburn against Burnley. Well, Burnley in decent form at the moment. Blackburn have got 1 or 2 injury problems. I'll keep an eye on the scoreline on that one for you, Andy, but I'd fancy Burnley in that one. And Sean Dyche, there's a manager who, when jobs come up in the Premier League, he's someone who could well be on the short list.
Evelyn, good time to face Aston Villa if you're Swansea and if you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have a really soft spot for Swansea because I worked in Wales for about 2.5 years. So I think it's a good club that's built on great values. It really value the fans and what the fans, have supported them through this year till 2 years ago, winning the Capital One Cup, which is a massive event for the club. So my heart goes out to the Swansea fan.
How come you're not a Cardiff fan?
It's funny. I actually worked closer to Cardiff than I did Swansea.
You were in Newport.
Yeah, I was in Newport for 2.5 years. Interesting place. I know. Well, there's a football club there, but they're nowhere near the top table. So
they have a bridge in Newport that has the highest suicide rate.
The Severn Bridge.
No, not that one. There's another one that goes down to the river.
The Transporter Bridge. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I didn't give it a lot of thought when I was there, luckily. Although sometimes you do feel that way because it's just miserable weather for us Singaporeans. I used to think, why are the Brits so happy to be in Singapore when they see sunshine? And I really got it when I moved there, thinking, what the hell was I thinking?
It's so grey, isn't it? It's grey, miserable.
It's grey,
cold.
and on a good day it gets dark at 5 o'clock. But if it rains by 3 o'clock, 1:30, it starts to get grey. Not a very exciting life, but I enjoyed what I did there.
Did you do some work with Swansea?
Well, it was kind of a odd sort of chance thing. I knew someone who knew the chairman at Swansea, and at that time, Ki Sung-yong was maybe in his second season. So really, they were thinking of they were looking for a new shirt sponsor. So they're really thinking of ways to sort of modernize themselves. I think, like I said, they come from a very family-oriented value type of club, and they were looking to try and perhaps make more money out of the opportunities that they had. So it was really, a meeting to go in and kind of chat through what they could be doing. And I think that summer Ki Sung-yong was actually getting married to another Korean K-pop star, if I'm not mistaken.
Big
so
wedding.
essentially I'm saying, what are you waiting for? You've got the posh and Becks of Japan. Right. Milk that. But then, unfortunately he was loaned off for a season right after that, so probably 3 months after that, and Michael Laudrup was actually on his way out. But it's just, giving them some insights into how you could think about marketing here in Asia and using someone like a Ki Sung-yong and perhaps managing his image rights and things like that.
So what did they do?
I think in the end, they did get a new shirt sponsor that summer, and I don't want to claim that it's on my advice, but I think they started to look at where else they could be more aggressive in, making some extra money to pay for the new stadium. They built not stadium. They had built a new training ground, which was lovely, and try and really up the quality of the squad. And that's also when Gary Monk came in. I believe that was 2013.
Right.
Towards the end of the season.
So you didn't get a kickback from the sponsorship?
Must have been 5% minimum.
No, I got a nice cup of coffee from the new training ground coffee machine. But lovely people. Met a couple of the backroom staff. which is, such a pleasure to just go into a new training ground and talk to people and see the excitement.
Any names that we would recognise? The backroom staff?
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, I met Michael Laudrup, said hello.
He's a legend. Just think about what a legend
I was really
that
excited.
guy is.
I was probably, dressed in my best business outfit or what have you.
So the story is that he played for Denmark in '92, right?
Yeah.
But his brother didn't. Is that right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Because he thought he still. I'm on holiday. I can't play.
What, in the Euro '92 when they won?
Yeah, when they got called up late. I thought Brian continued his holiday.
Oh, maybe.
So he was like sitting on a beach somewhere, and before you know it, they had won the World Cup.
I'll Google it.
Have a Google of that. That's the story of it. Yeah, so meeting Michael Laudrup, wow.
Yeah, it was very brief. And there was another background. The name escapes me right now. His assistant coach at that time, I don't know if you guys remember the name, Alan something. Aging is a terrible thing. I can't remember any of the names. But, just watching the players train, it looked very mundane. And I wonder that's the life of a footballer, kicking around some balls and
I think so.
And just I mean, I don't know why I expected it to be more glamorous and difficult.
Or some,
no, it was just literally, and I think it was an hour and a half. That was how long the meeting lasted. So, you could see the training ground from the chairman's office, and so, literally you just sort of out of the corner of my eye as I was chatting, just watching them.
They should bring in some sort of arts and craft halfway through, shouldn't they? Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, or and then off they go. They either go to the stadium to collect their cars and whatnot. So so it was kind of interesting. Sort of my most exciting event in Wales, I would say.
There you go.
Those sleep pods wouldn't have been put in by them, would they? That's something that Gary Monk has introduced, and Dan loves it, don't you, Dan?
I love the sleep pods.
Love a sleep pod.
Yeah, can you just imagine sleeping at a Premier League football ground all day, and then getting up, playing a bit of football, and then going back to sleep. And
I can't imagine what that would be like. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't know what.
Well, I think it worked at the beginning of the season, didn't it? And now it's kind of tailed off. But if you're talking about the two managers and today's fixture, I think if you talk about Gary Monk, I think his job should be safe, because at Swansea they know what they want to do. They know the players they've got. They know the system they want to play. And in Gary Monk, they've got a manager who's quite forward-thinking, and he will look at sports science, and he's brought in the sleep pods and done lots of new things, and we saw the benefits of that at the beginning of the season.
Villa. Well, Al just says that he's just reading from this manager's hand.
He is a bit when he talks to the media, you can see that, but I think behind the scenes they've got a clear vision, and I would put the last few games just down to a lack of form and not something that's going to be substantial. Whereas Villa, on the other hand, is the complete opposite for me. They've got a manager who comes out and says some really, really weird stuff during the week. He said, I think last week he said he was bored at one point. What else did he say? He said something really odd. I'm going to come out swinging for the next game. I mean, okay, that means he's going to come out and give it his all, but can you not just say, we're going to come out and give it, our all?
He's a bit of a lad,
I'm going to come out swinging. But I don't think that's what Villa need, and I've said this all season. Villa today will have a fully fit squad, and he'll probably play a different team to what he played last week, and he could even play a different formation. He clearly... Alan was talking about Joe Cole and saying that Sherwood's not quite sure what he's doing. You can see that because he clearly doesn't know his best team. He clearly doesn't know how he wants to play. He's clearly getting frustrated and emotional and keeps losing his temper. And with a young team that's down at the bottom of the league, like I said over the last few weeks, that's just not what they need. And now he's got Brendan Rodgers, who's out of a job, who seems like a better fit. David Moyes could be out of a job soon. I know he said he wants to stay at Racing Santander, but that decision could be taken out of his hands. Yeah, sorry, Sociedad, but that decision could be taken out of his hands. I just think that Villa don't score at home either, really. I don't think they've scored in 4 out of their last 5 home games.
Yep.
I know Swansea haven't scored much lately either, but I think they will get a goal today. I don't think Villa will, and I think Sherwood will get sacked after the game.
I think that's the thing, isn't it, about managers that are available now, because Allardyce would be the perfect guy to go in and save the club, and now Sunderland have gone and taken him. So, I mean... You've got to kind of move quick before somebody else comes and snaffles up these guys. But
I mean, Sherwood doesnesn't have an excuse because he's had a whole summer and a whole pre-season to sign. And one of the things about Villa is we're not quite sure who's signing the players there. I think they have this like a committee that has the final word on players. I would feel a bit sorry for him if that's the case. But still, he's had a whole summer. He has got some good young players there. They shouldn't be down at the bottom of the table. And I think he's only got himself to blame. He hasn't had any bad luck.
Yeah, I think the thing is, when you look at his record, he's lost 14 games out of his 22 in charge. I mean, looking in hindsight, it's great, but he probably should have just, after the FA Cup final last year, and just go and Villa get somebody else in. And they had such a high turnover of player. You kind of think them bringing in a new manager again now, all those players then have to get used to another completely different philosophy and stuff. And you think, with the club being up for sale for how many years, it just kind of, it's like the complete opposite of Swansea, is how Dan described Swansea with, it might not make sense to us, but they all work together. You can understand they all talk the same language, all this kind of slightly horrible brand modern football. But with Villa, it's the complete opposite. It just looks like a mess. They've signed, I don't know how many, was it 12 or 13 players in the summer, chopping and changing. They've got a manager who just seems to love the sound of his own voice a little bit and like to see his name in the headlines with these quirky quotes. I think Allardyce would probably be the right person for Villa. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers would go that far down the table when it looks like there's a lot of mess there. They've spent a lot of money, Villa. As I say, the owner wants to sell up. It's not really, I don't think, David Moyes as well. I mean, I'm not sure these guys would really want to take that job.
Possibly not. I think the thing is, the Villa are a big club still, aren't they, with a lot of history. And it would be a good project for someone. So a manager, speaking like
it's almost like running a company, isn't it? When you're down and out, you need a fixer to come in.
It is, yeah.
And Sherwood was perfect for that last year, and he did that. And then maybe that was the time when someone needs to make a really brave decision and go, okay, great, you've got the motivation, you've got the guys to stay up, you got them into an FA Cup final, but thanks very much. Let's go get somebody else to move it forward. I think the worrying thing for Villa today, if they don't get anything today, they're at Spurs, home to Manchester City, at Everton. It's not a good run, and you can see them getting cut away at the bottom very, very quickly. So even if they did get something today, they've got a very tricky fixture list coming up towards November, December. So,
and even if you get a new manager, it might be too late.
It might be too late. So I don't know. I mean, I was a bit like with this with Brendan Rodgers when he went to Liverpool. I think he should have just gone at the end of the year. I don't like when managers get kind of done halfway through the season. I think Sherwood should have gone at halfway through the season, but I just don't know with Villa now if it's a case of there's so many players. If there is a right manager out there that can save them.
Who would be your dream choice?
Oh, I don't know. Mourinho might be out of a job soon.
Fair enough.
It's the Andy Penders Show on Red Card Live. We're looking forward to these 10 o'clock games with Patrick Johnston, Dan Bond and Evelyn Tay. Alan Bentley is also on the line from the UK. Let's look forward to two teams that are really in form at the moment. It's Leicester up against Crystal Palace. Here's Nick Walsh.
High flyers Leicester City and Crystal Palace will be looking to preserve their places in the top six of the Premier League when they meet at the King Power Stadium on Saturday. Leicester have only lost once in all competitions this season, but that defeat did come in their last home match when they were humbled 5-2 by Arsenal at the end of September. Claudio Ranieri's men have struggled against Palace recently and lost both of the meetings between the two sides last season. The Italian boss knows his side will face another tough test on Saturday as the Eagles have won 9 of their last 12 matches on their travels.
Crystal Palace is a very, very tough match because if I remember well, the last 12 matches away with Alan Pardew, 9 victory and 3 draw. Amazing. It's fantastic performance. But we are ready. We know they are very dangerous, but it's okay. I think the fans will watch a good match.
Leicester have been boosted by the news the division's top scorer Jamie Vardy has been declared fit to play after shaking off a wrist injury. The England international is looking to become only the 8th player in Premier League history to net in 7 consecutive matches as he bids to score for the 10th time this season. Winger Jeffrey Schlupp has also been passed fit to play, but forward Leonardo Ulloa misses out with a thigh problem. Crystal Palace will be keen to return to winning ways on Saturday after losing 3-1 at home to West Ham last time out. The Eagles are currently 6th in the table, 1 point and 1 place behind Leicester, and they've not lost to the Foxes since January 2012. Another victory on Saturday could lift the South London club into the top 4, but manager Alan Pardew insists his first priority is to secure enough points to survive in the Premier League.
Well, of course our ambition is more than to stay in the division, but it's the first criteria for every team in the Premier League. I spoke to the West Ham chairman after briefly, and he's very keen to get to 40 points as quick as he could. We all are. Once you get across there, of course, then you can start looking to the teams above you, and that's what we'll do. But we're playing against the Leicester side, who have been the surprise package. I think people looked at us and perhaps thought we might have a good season, but I don't think everybody see Leicester's season coming. So they've done tremendously well. I'm a big fan of their manager. I think he carries himself really well, and he's had big teams, so he knows how to keep a winning run going, and they're in a great zone at the moment.
Pardew faces a selection dilemma in attack because Dwight Gale is suspended following his red card last weekend. And fellow strikers Marouane Chamakh and Connor Wickham have been ruled out with hamstring and calf injuries respectively. Either Fraser Campbell or Patrick Bamford are expected to deputise at the King Power Stadium, but Pardew has no other injury concerns heading into the contest.
Two very impressive managers. I love hearing from Claudio Ranieri. Always gives you a good soundbite. So let's hear from him a little bit more. He says there's great spirit at the camp at the moment.
Our strength is our spirit. Good group spirit with our fans, with all involved at the club. So there is a very good electricity, and that is important to continue to keep good feeling between us and the fans, between everybody.
Nice, just a nice chap, he seems to me, Dan.
Do you remember Jack and Ori?
Yeah.
He should read that, shouldn't he? Like storytelling. Because I was nearly falling asleep just listening to his voice. Not because I was bored, but because it was so soothing.
Problem is for Leicester, though, Alan, is that they can't keep coming from behind in games.
That's absolutely right, and he's been bemoaning old Claudio the lack of clean sheets. And I think this could suit Palace this game. I think it sets up for their counter-attacking style. I think they could almost benefit from the fact they've got the injuries in terms of up front. And I think they're a big price in this one. Leicester, I still think they'll struggle. I mean, they're a massive price to go down. I don't think they will, but I still think by and large they'll struggle in the league. Ranieri, an outstanding manager. I dealt with him when he was at Chelsea. And in those days, he used to feign the fact that he needed an interpreter. He's an interesting character. Alan Pardew, he's an interesting man to deal with as well. I like him as a manager. And as I say, I can get the price. Palace, their counter-attacking style, I think another away win for Palace here.
What happened when you met Ranieri?
Well, it was a game. It was Liverpool against Chelsea in the old League Cup. But he was very entertaining. He was one of these. John Tiggernow was another one who used to suggest that he had to use an interpreter. As soon as the interpreter went and the interview finished, he'd just chat away with you in English. Even Rafa Benitez, when he started at Liverpool, was somewhat similar. It's amazing how these managers very quickly realise that they can get away with absolute murder by pretending that they can't speak English.
Yeah, Pochettino did it for Southampton, didn't he?
Go on.
Pochettino did it for Southampton for a season.
That's absolutely right, and you know, for no good reason. You know, you hear him now at Tottenham. I'm sure he was fine all those years ago at your place as well. It's just a thing they do, isn't it? Perhaps it gives them a sort of bit of a comfort blanket to avoid the difficult questions. I suppose it works, but there you go.
What was Pardew like?
He's interesting because look, in a nice way, he's full of himself. He's got that arrogance and that swagger, which, let's be honest, as a manager, you really need. You know, Mourinho's got it, one or two others have got it, and Pardew certainly has it. And I think he's one of those managers, if he was given a top club, he could really, really do an outstanding job. I mean, you know, don't forget, at Newcastle, it was an absolute farce. He wasn't picking the team. He wasn't necessarily buying the players. You've seen what he can do at Palace. He did a good job at Reading. He did a good job at West Ham. I like Pardew as a manager. He's got that arrogance, and I think he could go a long, long way in managing. You know, he's still relatively young. There's talk about him getting the England job. But I think if I was perhaps looking around in years to come at Arsenal or Spurs or someone like that, I think I'd be looking at Alan Pardew.
Dan Bond, Saints fan. What were your memories of Alan Pardew when he was at St Mary's?
Well, that was in our League One days, wasn't it? And I remember going to the Johnston's Paint Trophy final, our last bit of silverware.
2002? 3? 4?
4. No, later than that. 2010, wasn't it? 2004 was the Cup final.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Memorable day, wasn't it, chaps? Memorable day, was it?
It was the Johnston's Paint Trophy.
Carlisle, wasn't it?
It was 2010, we won 4-1.
Yeah.
But actually... he started what we see today.
Didn't he sign Ricky Lambert?
He did. He signed Ricky Lambert for $1 million.
And
I think he signed Morgan Schneidlin as well. I think he did.
Yeah.
And Jose Fonte, he signed him.
Yeah. From
So
Palace,
he started what we see today, and since then he's gone on, hasn't he? I mean, he's managed West Ham before, and he's managed Newcastle under really tough circumstances, as Alan said. That is a really tough job to manage under Mike Ashley, and he did well. And now he's kicked on again with Palace, so you can see him going on. And this season, and the same with Ranieri, it's interesting to see the decisions they've made to change games. Zaha has come on a few times and really changed the game, and Pardew's moved players around, and it's worked to really good effect. And Ranieri's done the same with Mahrez. So they're thinking about the game all the time, but they're not afraid to make changes to either formations or personnel. You look at Man United, and they've still got Rooney in their team, who clearly needs a rest or needs to be pulled out. And they've got someone like Van Gaal managing them. Okay, they're doing well at the moment, but how long's Rooney going to stay in the team for? With Pardew and Ranieri, you can see them getting in, thinking, okay, we need to make this change today to make something happen, and it's come off. So.
You spoke of Ricky Lambert, just quickly, right?
Oh, here we go.
Just quick. Well, Steve McMahon used to do a lot of work with him at ESPN. He was a pundit, right? He let him go when he was manager at Blackpool. Let him go on a free transfer.
Yeah.
So he kept saying how rubbish he was. He's rubbish, can't run, can't do anything, right? So, but while he was there, Lambert's career started to go on the ascendancy. Got the England cap. Before you know it, he was playing for Liverpool, and it was very funny.
Because he worked in a beetroot factory for a while, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got released by someone.
Bristol City, Bristol Rovers,
Bristol
maybe?
Rovers.
Yeah.
And then he went to work in a beetroot factory, and then came all the way back up. But he said as soon as he walked in the door at Southampton, they started looking at everything from his personal life to his family to his diet.
I could do with that.
The way he trains.
That'd be awesome.
I think, you could probably make it, I reckon. Yeah, how young are you? 30?
No, not making it. I just need someone to look after me like that. That's all I need.
But yeah, you can see the players that go through that club, and even the managers. I'm not biased, but they always come out better. They always come out better. They always go upwards. They never go backwards.
Leicester City improving too. Jamie Vardy also improving. 13 goals in his last 19 Premier League games now, Evelyn. He scored just one in his previous 24. How come he's got so good?
It's impressive. I mean, I was just watching a clip of all the recent goals, and I mean the speed, the precision. He's not just a poacher. He is quick on the ball. He's it's just that the maturity in reading the game and reading where the ball's going. I mean it's
surprising maturity given he 2-3 years ago Fleetwood Town.
Yeah,
that's where he was at.
I mean,
it's
that's
bizarre.
incredible when you look at some of these players that seem to come out of nowhere. And I really like the fact that he's a homegrown player. I feel really strongly that if the English game is going to continue to flourish for many years to come, I'm not even English. Why am I saying that? But as a person who loves English football, I think it's so important to keep discovering these kids. I have three kids. A friend who has 3 kids living in Oxford, and 2 of them have been signed by Chelsea and Southampton for the under 10 and under 5, and I find that so encouraging.
Under 5?
Yeah, one of them is only 4 years old, and he's already in some Chelsea academy, which I think is incredible. I'll show you guys the video. It's really cool. I think they're both really good. Yeah. And throughout the course of their very young careers, if you call it, they may get released, after 1 or 2 seasons, and they maybe get good again or find something else, go play rugby or cricket. But I think it's so incredible that these very well-designed programs are in place. You guys probably know more than me growing up in England, but just looking at what some of my friends and their kids are experiencing. And
are these Singapore friends?
Sorry?
Are they Singapore friends?
Yeah, they're actually from Singapore. Their mom's from Singapore, but their dad's from Oxford.
So we could see the first Singaporean.
Yeah, I mean that would be incredible. And I definitely want to be the manager of some sort when they turn 15 or something. One of them actually is a United fan as well, the 4-year-old, so he knows what he wants at a very young age. So I think it's so incredible to keep and important to keep uncovering these homegrown talents.
It is, yeah, and we're going to be talking about a Manchester derby a little bit later on, where there's not a local lad in sight.
Yeah.
Which
is very sad. And that's why I think, the Rooneys and this whole generation, the class of 92, if you will, if we talk about Man United, that era of these really incredible players who've been at the club, 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, like Ryan Giggs, he's still there. He's practically a furniture fixture. He
always looks scared to me when he sits next to Louis van Gaal. He always looks...
I think that's just how he looks. I've met him once, and that's just how he looks. And he's just sort of stone-faced, just no expression whatsoever. And you're wondering,
Actually, he did give a very good press conference when he was the United manager for those 5 or 6 games.
I did like that. Because especially, do you remember the clip where somebody called him Alex or Fergie or something, and he kind of made a joke out of it. Yeah. And I thought that was his personality.
And he said he was going to give himself a new contract. That was being Ryan Giggs. Did you watch that?
Yes, I did.
Actually,
I did see
that. It came across very well.
Yeah, and it talks about. I mean, forget the crazy scandalous ones. But I think, someone like Ryan Giggs, the ethics, the loyalty, it's so unheard of in this day and age.
Do you know what he puts it all down to? Yoga.
Oh yeah, he's a big yoga
every day.
practitioner, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's why he played for
And
so
he's
long.
incredibly fit. He's 40 years old and still doing this day in day out.
Yeah.
And,
Probably
being a
still
player
play-
till he was 38 or something.
He could probably still play now, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon both him and Scholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still tearing it up in training, no doubt.
Yeah.
We are previewing Leicester against Palace. Sorry, we went a bit off the topic there. What about this Leicester side? Alan doesn't seem to think that they will continue in the same sort of vein, Patrick, as they're doing, but they've got a few key players that are starting to play particularly well for you.
Yeah, it was quite telling this week. Ranieri said, I think, in another part of his press conference about how no one's for sale. So, all those rumours have started already, but they have assembled quite a nice team. I mean, to link it back to what we were saying about Villa and what I said about Sherwood, maybe should have just gone last season. Leicester's Thai owners took a big step last year, and they thought, no, we've had a miraculous save. They brought in Ranieri. I thought they were going to go relegated because I just wasn't sure about Ranieri at all. But as you say, you can't not like fall in love with him. Really, he's such a listening to him talk there, and he's done very, very well. I mean, he has managed some fantastic clubs, but they bought well. Okazaki's a fantastic player. We know all about him in Japan and in Asia. Scored lots of goals and. Yep, obviously Vardy's getting all the headlines, but Mahrez as well. I think Dyer, they got in from Swansea. I think, they're just creating lots and lots of chances, and that's the difference. If you look at someone like Chelsea, there's not that. It's not like Costa's playing badly, and the same maybe for Harry Kane when these guys not scoring. But Leicester, they just play a fun way. With Vardy and Okazaki, players like that, they just run all out. They just, they give absolutely everything. Fans love that. So it's great to see. Having said that, they've got some really tough fixtures coming up as well. So I think, they will sink down the table a little bit, but they should definitely be pushing for top half. And I think, they do have some very wealthy Thai owners, as I say, and they have promised more and more money to be pumped in. So, if Ranieri, I know he's not the youngest, but if they can hang on to him, if he can keep going well, if he can keep this squad together, everyone happy,
He probably got badly tagged with that Tinkerman.
He did. It was pretty unfair, but he went back to Europe and he did lots of good things. And unfortunately, obviously, a disastrous time at Greece. We don't know what really happened there, but no, he's a good guy. He's obviously a very talented coach. And
the good thing about Leicester and their fans is they won't really still have any expectations. I mean, they will want to finish in the top half, but if they finish 13th, 14th, I think we all thought they were going to struggle, and I predicted them to go down. And a lot of other people did.
Me too.
The thing about them is they have to stop conceding goals because they always seem to go 2 goals down. Now they've pulled the games back against Stoke, Villa, and Southampton last week off the back of an international week. If they go 2 goals down today against Palace, I don't think they come back. So they've got to do something with their defence. They've got Morgan and Huth at centre back normally. I don't know who's playing today. They've got a lot of experience, but are they of Premiership quality? Top 6, top 7? Probably not. So it'd be interesting to see what happens today. If you look at it logically, Crystal Palace would go 2-0 up, and Kabay would score a penalty, and then Leicester would win 3-2, and Vardy would score in the last minute. So you could put that down as a prediction. But if Crystal Palace do go 2-0 up, I would think that they would have enough under Pardew and with their strong defence and the way they've been playing the season to hold that. So it should be a cracker.
It should be a good game, yeah. And there's lots of belief in this Leicester side as well, so if they do go 2-0 down. And I love watching Jamie Vardy coming off the pitch. He looks proper knackered, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like he's put a proper shift in.
Most KMs in the league.
Is he?
Yeah, because I said the other week he was the fastest player in the league.
Yeah.
And I went back and had a look at it, but actually he's covered the most KMs, which I think you probably said was what it was all about.
The speed is incredible. And how tall is he? He doesn't look like a very tall
6
tall
foot
lad.
probably, I don't know, but maybe a bit less, but he just
I was talking
runs.
to Jamie Reeves during the week. He says he's that type of player, very British sort of player you just hate. Because he's just the way he looks and the way he's just nasty.
Angst.
He'll be grabbing you, stamping on your feet, just being a nose for 90 minutes.
But the passion too, when you look at when he scores and the way he celebrates, I think that's proper passion for the
football.
game. Yeah.
Proper football. I can't really say proper football about Norwich against West Brom. We still will preview it though for you. Here's Alex Jack.
Anybody watching it?
Norwich City will be looking to bounce back following their 6-2 defeat at the hands of Newcastle as they take on West Brom at Carrow Road on Saturday. Despite the loss of 2 key strikers, goal scoring has not been a problem for the Canaries, as they have scored in all but one of their games this season. However, they have now conceded the most goals in the division, the 6 they let in on Sunday, bringing them up to a total of 20. They have also been slow out of the blocks in most games, conceding first in 6 out of their 9 encounters so far. Manager Alex Neil is keen to improve the negatives of his side and is hoping for a backlash following the Newcastle defeat.
Being honest, we're probably more focused on the negatives than the positives. The reason being, we know what we're good at. You know, we keep the ball well, we do create chances, we go forward well, and we've scored quite a few goals this season, so I don't think anybody enjoys that. I think that's the heaviest defeat I've ever sort of suffered as a manager. So yeah, it's not nice, but the one thing you've got to do now is sort of stick your chest out and go and make sure the next game you perform a lot better and hopefully win.
Former baggy Yusuf Malumbu is unlikely to be rushed back for the clash. However, Graham Dorrans and Andre Wisdom will play some part against their former side. Gary Hooper and Lewis Graben have both stepped up their rehabilitation from ankle problems and could come into contention. Meanwhile, West Brom have kept 5 clean sheets from their 9 games this season, the joint highest in the division, alongside Arsenal and Manchester City. Midfielder James Morrison is struggling with an ankle problem and could miss Saturday's match. Meanwhile, there is a bid to sharpen up their attacking threat with Saido Berahino and Ricky Lambert, who have been doing extra fitness work. Stefan Sessegnon looks set to retain his starting place after impressing in the 1-0 win against Sunderland last time out. Their good defensive form has given the Baggies a solid foundation, but only Watford have scored less than Albion this season, and manager Tony Pulis is keen to recapture the attacking prowess they showed last season.
From last year, where we looked a potent side going forward and we looked as though we were going to score goals, we've not done that. But Saturday was encouraging. I think in the Premiership we got more crosses in than any other team on Saturday. So, you know, it's just we need to get our players back and get our players working up and down the pitch, and especially the wide players. You know, it hasn't helped with Solomon as well being away. He's had those 6 weeks away, flying to South America and then coming back in. But they're all things that happen at every club, so you have to deal with them.
The Baggies can take hope from their last Premier League game played at Carrow Road. They secured a 1-0 away win thanks to Morgan Amalfitano's goal. However, a home win would see the Canaries leapfrog the Baggies in the Premier League table.
Big Alan Bentley, I guess we can say 0-0 and just move on with this, can we? Is Al there? Okay. Okay, well, I think we just not talk about this game, Dan. I'm not excited about it at all.
I mean, it should be 0-0 based on the.
Pulis, despite his heroics as opposing.
Oh, we've lost Al. We'll try and get him back, Nick, shall we?
They're slightly too short for me, but if you had to push me, Andy, I would be going for a Norwich win.
Okay, buddy. I missed all of that, but you seem to cut out. But you think Norwich will win this one?
Sorry, yes I do, but what I'm saying, Andy, the biggest thing for me when I'm looking to get involved in a game is what the prices are, and they're too short a price. So I'm going to sit this one out, but if you had to force me, I would say a Norwich win, Andy.
Okay, well, I mean, West Brom just don't concede goals, do they, Patrick?
No, it's boring. It really is. I mean, the emphasis on having to stay in the Premier League for like about 14 clubs, and we've got a whole tranche of television money coming in, and it's going to be even more bonanza next season. So it's even desperate for some of these clubs to stay in. So I get it. So they have to do whatever they can, but it's just not very entertaining. I mean, Tony Pulis was just there saying about how they put the most crosses in and stuff. Fantastic, that's great. But it's just, they defend so deep. It's very boring. I can't see, after Norwich getting stung so badly defensively last week at Newcastle, I mean, you can't imagine them going too gung-ho this week. But
were Norwich that bad against Newcastle?
Well, I think it was. I looked at the clips from the match. Truthfully, I didn't see the whole game, but I just think there's so many holes. And I think once you're 2 or 3 goals down, you just lose hope, don't you?
Yeah,
you
they just
sort of
completely
give up,
switched off,
and you're just a passenger. So although I kind of think when you've lost that badly, you can't possibly go into the next week thinking, oh, we're rubbish and we're going to stay this way this week. I almost feel like they might come back with a fighting spirit. Norwich is one of those odd clubs that they're like, I don't want to say the bad penny that won't go away, but some of these clubs struggle season after season, and you're rooting for them, Newcastle included. You're rooting for them till the last day.
You have a soft spot for every team.
I don't know. Well, no, there's two teams I absolutely don't like, and you'll find out soon enough, and it's not hard to guess which two, and absolutely will not give them time of the day or anything nice to say about them, including my friends. But I hope they have the fighting spirit to come back. I think it's hard for smaller clubs trying to, get the same limelight. But I also think West Brom, the last game I saw West Brom play live was Man United. I think it was 2014. It was 2 seasons ago. And, we walked away with a draw at Old Trafford. And they do this season after season. I think consistently the last 4 seasons, West Brom's always managed to draw with United. And I think that's at home. Even so, I think there's just one of these odd clubs that seem to produce surprising results when you least expect it.
I think both sides, will stay up this year. I think there's definitely 3 sides worse than these two. I think West Brom, as I say, I'm not a fan of them, but it's effective. They sit deep. They don't concede many goals. They keep a lot of clean sheets. They have 2 wingers. They have tall strikers.
They can defend well if they want to.
From a coach's perspective, Dan, you've enjoyed watching them, have you?
Oh yeah, I've watched every single game. I've recorded them and watched them back and back.
The Watford one was particularly special.
The Watford one was an absolute corker for me.
Yeah.
I think with West Brom, they have to get to 40 points. They're one of those clubs that just have to get to 40 points. And if they can get a point in every away game and draw it 0-0, they would take it. I know it's not going to be particularly fun to watch, but that's what you get with Tony Pulis, isn't it? He did it at Stoke. He's done it at West Brom. Norwich, on the other hand, they've got a bright young manager now who I've been talking up on this show over the last few weeks, and I think today you will see why he's so good. That Norwich team during the week will have been drilled with how bad they were last week, and defensively I think they would have done a lot of work. They can score goals. They've got Redmond who's quick, and they've got Houlihan who creates chances, and they've scored goals all season. So I think they'll edge this one. And when you look at West Brom, they've only kept clean sheets against Saints at the beginning of the season when they were poor, Villa, Stoke when they were bottom, and Watford and Sunderland last week. So that's the teams at the bottom of the league. I know Norwich are in and amongst that, but I think they've got a bit more going forward than the likes of Watford, Villa and Sunderland. So I'd expect Norwich to score today, and West Brom will try and play for a 0-0. So that will then change the game, and West Brom will have to come out. But I think Alex Neil is a really good young manager, and he will be able to get something out of this game. And I think it will be a win against a West Brom side that, let's face it, they're the most boring team in the league, aren't they?
Well, I think that's the thing about, you saying they just need to get to 40 points. It's so obvious, their style of play. And you can see why Stoke got rid of them. You can see why they then get Mark Hughes in to then go and bring in some people that play for Barcelona to try and get to the next stage. It's such a one-dimensional kind of very negative, hard to enjoy if you're not a West Brom fan.
Yeah. And that's what will happen with Pulis. They'll finish 14th and 13th or whatever, and then they'll want to get in someone who can play a little bit more expensively, and it will happen. But it's better than going down, isn't it? It's better
no, totally, and he deserves a lot of credit. He's done an incredible job with a lot of teams, but to do well, I don't think he's ever been relegated as a manager through how many different leagues. What he did with Crystal Palace, and did he not win Manager of the Year after he kind of saved them? That's after he dragged them off the bottom of the table. So he's fantastic at what he does, and look, it's an unbelievable trait. But just if you want to get to that next level, if you want to push on, and West Brom have been in that Premier League a few years now, so you kind of think that they would be doing that rather than hanging around at the bottom.
So they're not really. To me, they're one of these clubs that are not really striving to be better.
Exactly,
it's almost my ex-boss is going to kill me. He's a Baggies fan, but they're always sort of hovering around 12, 14, that type of ranking. But
definitely.
Talking of Mark Hughes coming in to improve the side.
I set that up well, didn't I?
Very nice. Gave me a perfect link to Stoke against Watford. That's another 10 o'clock kickoff. Here's Tom Hill with more.
Stoke manager Mark Hughes will be looking to make it 4 Premier League wins in a row as they take on Watford at the Britannia Stadium on Saturday in what will be his 100th game in charge of the Potters. It has been an impressive turnaround for the Midlands side, who are left bottom of the table after 5 games, but now lie just 2 points off Tottenham in 7th. Ryan Shawcross could find himself back on the Stoke bench after a long layoff due to a back injury. The club captain came through 90 minutes of under-21 football unscathed on Monday as he looks to regain match fitness. However, Hughes is keen to not rush him back. The Potters will also receive a boost in attack after welcoming back Mame Biram Diouf after his compassionate leave, and John Walters, who has recovered from a groin strain. Hughes becomes the third longest serving manager in the Premier League and has spoken of his success.
That's how it is this day and age. It's not easy. You've got to be conscientious. You've got to have a good deal of luck sometimes, but you've got to work hard and be consistent in your work, and I hope that makes your group of players better. I like to think with the experience myself and my group, management group have got over the years, we understand what it takes at this level, and that helps you. But you still got to be fortunate on some occasions, and that enables you to keep in the league and keep working, and thankfully having a little bit of longevity, which seems in short supply at the moment.
Meanwhile, the Hornets key midfielder Valon Barami faces a late fitness test to see whether he'll feature after a calf injury suffered on international duty kept him out of the defeat to Arsenal. If he misses out, the Swiss ace will join a growing list of players who missed the clash, including midfielder Jose Manuel Valrado, who is out with a hamstring injury, and defenders Joel Estrand and Tommy Haban. Watford manager Quique Sanchez-Flores is keen for his players to regain focus after a heavy home defeat last time out.
We try to talk with the players about the circumstance, because sometimes happen that the players they keep with the result, just with the result in the mind. It's our target, it's our work to talk with the players, to try to clear the mind, to just with the focus in the next match, to eliminate the bad feelings. But finally we can solve, and I think in the future we're going to recuperate the good feelings.
Stoke have failed to score in their last 5 games against Watford, losing 3 of these, with their last match ending in a 0-0 stalemate in 2008. Recent history between these two sides also shows that the home side has not fared well, coming out on top in just 2 of the previous 10 meetings.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, Big Al. How's this one going to go?
Well, I think this is a tough one to call, given the prices, given the way Watford play. I think Sanchez-Flores will make. He'll have a number of defensive midfielders in there, and I think Stoke may struggle to break them down. The thing I would say about Stoke, I wasn't too bothered about their poor start to the season. I did, and I think I said to you a couple of times, I was always confident that they'd improve. They've won the last 4 in all competitions. Again, it's one of those, Andy, we're at the prices. I couldn't be siding with Stoke. Again, I'd be sort of leaving it alone if I was playing professionally, as it were. But I would perhaps just about side with Stoke in what will be a tight game. Again, not one I'd like to watch, to be honest.
Dan, it seems like Stoke have found their rhythm a little bit, though.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier on in the season. You can see Mark Hughes wanted to change the way they play, so he brought in a bit of extra quality. And now it's coming to fruition. They've got Bojan back as well, who's obviously a quality little player. So they've got a good mix there now of Premier League experience and quality and experience. The players they brought in have played a lot of games in Europe, won a lot of trophies. They've got 5 Champions League winners in their team or in their squad, which we talked about. And they're only going to go one way, I think. As for Watford, it's goals. They've got a couple of good strikers in Agallo and Deeney. I know Deeney hasn't scored yet this season, but he's had 23 shots on target.
He's due then.
Yeah, 23 shots on target or 23 shots at goal. So he's obviously getting into the positions, and a player like that is obviously going to score sooner rather than later. It's the service into those strikers that I'd be a bit worried about. And they think they've scored 6 or 7 this season, which isn't going to be enough to keep them up. So they've got to sort that side of their game out. Stoke have won their last 4, so based on that, they got home advantage. You'd think it would be a comfortable win for them against a Watford team that don't look like they're going to get any goals. So
they can't seem to score, Evelyn, can they? This Watford side.
I haven't paid attention to Watford in a long time.
Yeah.
I just kind of remember them drifting in and out of the Premiership. What's their standing currently?
Where are they in the league?
Yeah,
they're just above
15th,
16th. Sorry, 15th. You're right. Yeah.
Right.
So.
I mean, to be honest, I don't see them staying up. If I may say, sorry, Watford fans. See, I'm not so positive for once.
Do you not have a soft spot for them?
No. I mean, I don't feel anything special.
Actually, I do. With John Barnes. Who else do they have that was good?
They had what's his face? You know the guy.
Luther Blissett.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. The last time I saw John Barnes was I don't know, Strictly Come Dancing or something.
Did you see him when he was here in Singapore?
No, I missed that. It's out of town.
He's coming back next week, isn't he? Or two weeks' time.
Yeah. Oh, for this
yeah.
Legends.
Fowler's coming. Barnes is coming.
Obviously, I couldn't care less because he's a Liverpool player.
Ooh, well, Man United are coming as well. Man United old boys, aren't they?
Oh, that's a different
Andy
story
Cole,
then.
Solskjaer.
All right. Oh, Solskjaer.
Really? He won't have Solskjaer.
No way.
He's just taking a job again, isn't he?
Yeah,
Is
maybe
he?
not Solskjaer then.
Where is he going?
No, it's Mulder. Yeah, because he won, didn't he? I saw,
Yeah,
he
that's
might,
a shame. I truly think his stint at Cardiff was. I just remember, sat at my desk 20 minutes from Cardiff, and I thought, I cannot believe he's stupid enough to go and take that job, which was an impossible task at that time with a somewhat, volatile owner under very upsetting circumstances for the fans. I'm surrounded by a lot of Cardiff fans, and they couldn't believe what they were watching, and I didn't think that was how Solskjaer wanted to make his mark, and it was such a shame. I thought that stint was a mistake.
it's one of them, isn't it? He had to take the opportunity, really, because you can't of course turn that down. But yeah, it's wrong job at the wrong time. I think
Yeah,
comes straight out of
absolutely.
Norwegian football.
Absolutely.
So he's back at Mulder and beat Celtic during the week.
Yeah,
first game.
Nice. Well, that's his first game, was it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Still one more match to look at. That's the late game tonight, and it looks like it's going to be a good one too. It's Arsenal up against Everton. Here's Tom McGarry.
Arsenal take on Everton on Saturday, and they know a victory at the Emirates Stadium will send them to the top of the Premier League table for one day at least. The Gunners have been in fine form in recent weeks, with victories against Manchester United and Watford in the league, as well as Bayern Munich in the Champions League, coming without even conceding a goal. The North London club also have a fine recent record against the Toffees, as they have only lost one of the last 16 league meetings between the two sides. Boss Arsene Wenger has praised the togetherness of his squad ahead of the match, and he believes their recent run of form has breathed new confidence into his side.
I think we have always a togetherness, but not always the results that we want. But overall, we are on a good run, and that can help the level of confidence and belief to go into the next game. We have a big game in front of us against Everton. We can extend our run. So our focus is mainly on our next game.
Arsenal will be without Aaron Ramsey for the match after the midfielder injured his hamstring during the victory over Bayern, and he's expected to be on the sidelines for at least 3 weeks. Goalkeeper David Ospina will also miss out due to a shoulder injury, whilst an ankle problem means Mikel Arteta will not feature against his former club. Long-term absentees Jack Wilshere, Thomas Rositzky and Danny Welbeck remain on the sidelines, with all 3 players not expected to return until the new year. Everton will be looking to claim their first away victory against Arsenal since January 1996, when goals from Graham Stewart and Andrei Kanchelskis helped them to a 2-1 success at Highbury. The Toffees lost their first match in 7 against Manchester United last weekend, and they will be keen to improve on the performance they produced during the 3-0 loss to the Red Devils. Boss Roberto Martinez expects his squad to regain the consistent form they were showing prior to last weekend's defeat, although he knows it will be a tough test against a resurgent Arsenal side.
As a team, we want to be back to reach our level, the level that we showed consistently this season. And we'll have to do it probably in one of the hardest arenas in the league and in one of the hardest oppositions. You're looking at what Arsenal achieved in the last few weeks, and especially in the game against Bayern Munich, where they deserve to win the football game. We know we're going to find a team probably in the best moment of confidence, the best moment of belief, but in the same manner, it's one of those games that we need to look at ourselves, and all we're looking is to react from what happened in our performance at the weekend and make sure that we are as good as we can.
Everton could be boosted by the return of midfielder Tom Cleverley for the clash at the Emirates, after the midfielder stepped up his recovery from an ankle injury by playing 60 minutes for the club's under-21 side during the week. Winger Stephen Pienaar and fullback Leighton Baines are also nearing a return following respective hamstring and ankle injuries, but the match is expected to come too soon for the pair to feature.
Big Al, I know you have to go somewhere soon. Where are you off to anyway?
Wouldn't you like to know, Andy? It's nothing too exciting. I've just got to. Well, I've got to go to the Missus' shop where the footballers turn up. There's a bit of an event there this afternoon, so I'm going up there. That's where I'm going.
I wonder who else you'll bump into.
Well, honestly, they have all sorts of players in there. They have also, stars of the silver screen and the TV. It's a fantastic little place. They probably don't mean anything to you, but Michelle Keegan and Mark Wright go in, who not Mark Wright, the footballer, the old Southampton player, Mark Wright, the young, sort of good-looking bloke, and Michelle Keegan, who's an actress. So they get all sorts of stars in there, but the footballers like it particularly, or the footballers' wives, as it should say. And as exclusively revealed last week, Jermaine Defoe's girl, slightly on the big side, Andy.
What's the name of the place?
It's called Deborah's in Chigwell in Essex.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. Hey, how about this Arsenal side though, Al?
Well, I'm not getting too carried away by their victory over Bayern Munich or their recent wins. I'm not getting too carried away by Everton's defeat. I think Everton have got a chance in this one. I don't think it's a formality, especially with Ramsey injured and one or two others. Yes, Arsenal have been doing well in recent weeks, but they were slightly flattered by the margin of victory against both Leicester and Watford. And I think Everton, it was just a bad day at the office, as Martinez put it last week against Manchester United. I wouldn't discount Everton in this one. I really wouldn't, especially at the prices, especially getting the head start on the Asian handicap. I think they can keep this tight. And I know there's been a recent trend where Arsenal haven't been having a draw. I think there's one or none in the last 17. But I could see a draw in this.
You say it was a horrible day at the office. I mean, it was just, with that whole Howard Kendall thing, and I don't think Everton were that
perhaps.
bad,
Again, in my time at Sky, I dealt with Howard a few times, and he was an interesting character. Obviously, he had his problems at the end, but there you go. But yeah, it was a real downer on the whole day in terms of the way Everton performed. There was a subdued atmosphere at the crowd. Certainly, Martinez and the players seemed somewhat subdued. I don't think they're going to use that as an excuse. They can't, but I do think they can recover and bounce back.
What stories have you got? What stories have you got about Howard Kendall then?
Oh, well, the problem was, to be blunt, was his drinking. He absolutely lost it in terms of drink, and it was well known, well documented. So I'm not saying anything that people didn't know, and he had problems when he was at some of his later clubs as well. But it was, he was a fantastic influence on Everton. That I'm a mad Liverpool fan, and in the mid-80s, whatever he did at Everton was truly astonishing, and did for 3 years threaten to usurp Liverpool in some respects. And they still bemoan the fact that because of Heysel, they weren't allowed into Europe when they had, arguably their best ever team at the end of '86 and whatever, when they were just denied the double by Liverpool, in fact, doing the double. But he was a great manager and a decent bloke as well.
That Heysel denying Super Saints team as well, the trip into Europe. I know you have to go. What's the speciality was it Rebecca's? Deborah's, sorry.
Well, the speciality, it's a ladies' clothes shop, but I don't know if you know this, Andy, it's International Champagne Day, and I'm very easily led on such matters. I've already had the text that the champagne is going down well. They've got some TV cameras down there. I'm not averse to getting in front of the cameras myself, Andy, so I'm going to leg it down there if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's all good. But just before you go, as you said, you are mad Liverpool fan.
Yes.
I paused there on purpose. What's going to happen between Liverpool and against Southampton, bro?
Well, again, I think the fact of the matter is that Klopp is starting to realise he's been left with a pretty poor squad by Brendan Rodgers. I think that's the problem. I think, Southampton are playing well at the moment. It's funny, isn't it, when you're a football fan? It's either a case of the glass half empty, half full. I think Klopp long-term will do an outstanding job, but I think there has to be patience. I think he will buy time. I think the fans are certainly on his side. But Southampton are no mugs. They've got the best-looking player in the Premiership, as we've heard before. And I think they're no mugs. And again, look, he's got a habit at the moment of grinding out a draw. I could see another draw in this one, Andy.
So it's another false dawn for Liverpool fans, is it? You've had plenty of those before.
I wouldn't say it's a false dawn because, as I say, I think long term he'll get it right. I think, come the transfer window, I think there's going to be some interesting signings. I think he'll get the best out of one or two other players as well. I think he's starting to realise that some of those he's got, the likes of Joe Allen in particular, who got taken off at half time. I know he was booked in the first half on Thursday, but Joe Allen isn't good enough, and there are a number like that. How Lovren has gone backwards since he left you guys is astonishing. And I think that's starting to dawn on Jurgen Klopp, the size of the job he's got. But I actually think he's relishing the challenge. I think he's looking forward to the fact that he feels he can build a dynasty at Anfield, and I'm sure long term he will.
Quick word on Sunderland Newcastle.
I think it's a tough one. I don't like Sunderland at all. Newcastle, the boy last week, what's his name? He was one of 7 Dutchmen to score a hat-trick in the Premier League, Andy. So I can leave you with that one, see if you can guess the other 6. Wijnaldum or whatever his name is. I think Newcastle can win this one. I don't like Sunderland at all. I did mention Jermaine Defoe. He's totally disenchanted with life up in the North East. I'm not convinced about Sam Allardyce as a manager either. You know, I dealt with him at Notts County in Blackpool where he was getting pelters off the crowd. Yes, he did well at Bolton, but I think the jury's been out where he's gone elsewhere. I'm not convinced about Sunderland at all. I think Newcastle can win that one.
I think it's Wijnaldum, and I think that's how the Geordies pronounce him, is why I nailed him. Anyway, just quickly then, Manchester Derby, bro.
Well, you know, there's an adage in horse racing that a 3-horse race, you back the outsider of 3. I'm really struggling to pick a winner in this one. So, you know, I know it's sitting on the fence, Andy, but at the prices, I would be looking at the draw once again. I know City have 1 or 2 key injuries. I'm not getting carried away by Manchester United's recent victories. I think this one, if you were to pin me to the ground, I think a draw in this one.
It would be a crazy night if I was starting to pin you to the ground, Big Al.
Say again?
It'd be a crazy night if I started to pin you to the ground.
Well, we've had those before, Andy.
We have.
You know, let's be honest. We were young and we ran with the wind, but they were the days.
I can remember 96, 98, we did a bit of pinning down.
Yeah, yes. How can I forget?
Hey, enjoy your champagne, Big Al.
I will. I've already got the message. The message just come in saying that come in and have a glass, so I'm going to get in there, all right? I'll have one for you, Andy.
All right, buddy. Hey, International Champagne Day.
Champagne, Andy.
Yeah, where's... Hello?
Well, I've only just found out.
I like you trying to pretend you didn't realise it was in. You
have 1.5 hours.
I reckon you had an alert on your phone
it.
that came on at 7 o'clock this morning.
Talking of champagne, Arsenal are playing some champagne football at the moment.
Where is our champagne? They've gone fast. No, they are. They're playing really good football at the moment, but that just means that they'll probably lose this one. Because such is the Arsenal way. I mean, this is a good game, though. This is probably the game I'm looking forward to most tonight. It's always a good game, always a high-scoring game. I think they played that out here in the Barclays Asia Trophy, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, I went to that. That was 3-1.
3-1, so... But,
a meaningless game that meant nothing.
Meaningless game that meant... Oh, that's pre-season trophy.
Yeah.
Arsenal won the pre-season treble, didn't they?
Where we were from
I think Everton, and I'm with Al. I think Everton, they have quite a good record down at all. They've put in a number of good performances. I don't know if they've always got the results they deserve at the Emirates or at Highbury, but they've. I think they'll cause some problems. I think they're set up perfect for the counter. You guys know all about that from that day when they came down to St Mary's. I think Arsenal will be pretty knackered from midweek as well, because I don't think they barely touched the ball, even though they won 2-0. They were chasing shadows all day. They're without Ramsey, so that's another player who kind of likes to hold the ball. Oxlade-Chamberlain will probably come in, so Everton like to keep the ball. I think it could be a few trouble today. I think it might be a high-scoring draw, but maybe even an sneaky Everton will win.
My money's on Everton.
Hey, well, Tony is an Arsenal fan. Hi, Tony.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, we talk about this Arsenal not touching the ball against Bayern, but I think Arsene Wenger's come out since and said, well, yeah, we sat back, we changed our tactics a little bit, and look, defensively, we look pretty solid now.
Yeah, I think basically this Arsenal side has another plan, which is Plan B. So right now we are playing against counter-attack football. Even though we don't have a lot of possession, but ultimately we still get a result through incisive pass and great counter-attack.
Hey, how about this Mesut Özil at the moment? He looks fantastic. What do you think, Tone? Mesut Özil, eh? Not a bad
Mesut is playing well.
Yeah.
I think Alexis is on form as well. So far, I think the whole team is having a great bonding, and everybody is playing well. Even Czech is really the man of the match.
Well, he's been brilliant, right? I mean, he's given you such great assurance at the back. I remember that save he did against Lewandowski during the week. Just really critical.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Hey, and top of the league with a win today.
Yeah, if we can manage a win, we will top the league for at least Monday. I'm hoping for a draw for the Manchester derby.
Yeah,
definitely.
Gotcha. Where are you watching today's game, Tony?
I'll be watching at Molly's Ruffy at Arsenal Pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal Singapore Supporters Club.
Patrick wants a word with you.
There.
Hang on, Patrick wants a word.
So, Tony, who do you reckon, Giroud or Walcott up front today? Who would you prefer?
Personally, I'll still prefer Walcott because he'll give us a bit more stretch. So he stretched the other team, the opposition, a lot more than Giroud. But when Giroud comes on, he comes on very strong. So each time he comes on, we manage to score goals. So I think I will stick to the original plan, like what we did previously.
Hey, good luck tonight, Tony. We'll give you. We can't give you a call during half time because it's late kickoff today, isn't it? Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's quite late.
Yeah. All right. Well, I might come and join you after the show.
Oh, that would be great. That would be fantastic. We'll be at a pub, so...
Okay. There's not some free champagne there, is there?
We could buy you a drink.
Well, it's International Champagne Day.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I'll talk to Danesh about this.
Okay, good luck.
Our president for Arsenal Singapore.
I'll even wear a...
Don't say it.
No, I won't. I'll bring an Arsenal shirt. I've got the Arsenal shirt here, actually.
Great. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll bring one down. You can sign it, and I'll bring it back in because you're not having it. All right, Tony. Good to speak to you.
Yeah, good to speak to you too. Bye.
Hey, it's the Andy Penders Show on Red Card Live. We've got Harvey Davis joining us in just a few moments' time. He's from JSSL. We're with Patrick Johnson, Dan Bond, Evelyn Tay. Alan Bentley was with us, but he's gone off drinking champagne at his missus's shop.
Deborah's shop, yeah.
Tommy's an Everton fan. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Tommy.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy.
Yeah,
what happened last week against Manchester United?
Terrible. We didn't turn up, actually. I didn't know where we go. Probably a little affected by what happened to Howard Kendall.
I would imagine so, yeah. I think that's exactly what's happened. And you're taking on an Arsenal side who are bang in form at the moment.
I think we want to bounce back from last week. But at the same time, I think Arsenal looks quite formidable at the moment.
Well, I can't agree more with you, buddy, yeah.
And especially, we haven't won away from... we haven't won away at Arsenal for many years, I suppose.
So you don't sound too happy there, Tommy.
Yeah, not very optimistic, but no. I think I'll be very happy with the draw. Of course, I want to win, but I think a draw could do us some good.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I see you're giving a trial to Felipe Mattioni. Do you remember the forgotten Brazilian defender? Does that ring a bell with anyone? One of the most promising attacking fullback talents in La Liga a few years ago, back in 2010.
Oh,
him?
No, don't.
Yeah, Mallorca. No.
Move on.
So a draw at best. No win for you today. What sort of players have been outstanding for you? Has Ross Barkley been turning it on this season?
You mean for the Everton team?
Yeah.
I think the guy that really stands out currently probably is Kone.
What, is it just because of his haircut, you mean?
Probably the highlights on the hair, but I think he has done himself a little good this season, scoring a couple, doing some assists, and playing some football actually.
Hey, where are you going to watch the game there, Tommy?
Sadly, we can't watch our game at our usual place tonight.
Why?
Probably going to stay home and watch it.
Why? What's happening at the usual place?
Because 5 Square doesn't operate after midnight, so yeah.
Hey, it's going to be tough. Actually, you should be able to watch it. What time's the Rugby World Cup? That's 11.
It's 4 English time, so that's 11. Yeah.
11.
Yeah, the big game on the World Cup rugby, right?
Yeah. Are you going to watch that?
No, but I'm having a dilemma because I got friends on both sides, on Africa and New Zealand, so
should be a good one. Hey, Tommy, enjoy the game tonight. Hope you don't get thrashed by too many goals.
Thanks, Andy. Good luck to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thanks. He sounds a bit down, Tommy there.
I'm surprised.
But, yeah, I am surprised because although he's thinking Everton are going to lose this based on last week, it sounds like, I think the Everton team will relish this game. Because they'll be like, well, this is one of these games where we can go there, play the style of football that we love to play, and we're not expected to win. They've got a good defence. Against Man United, Arsenal scored those 3 goals in the first 20 minutes, but that was solely because they had Schweinsteiger and Carrick playing in the centre. They didn't have anyone to break up the game, and all 3 goals came through there. If they'd have played Schneidlin, I think that at least 2 of those 3 goals would have been stopped. And you look at Everton, they've got Barry and McCarthy in there, defensive-minded players. So I don't think Arsenal will be able to do the same as they did against Man United. They've got Lukaku up front, who's a handful. Naismith is like a pig hunting for truffles up there, isn't he? He just runs the line back and forwards. You got Kone, they can bring off the bench.
What goes with truffles?
Champagne.
Well done.
I mean, the smart money would be on Arsenal because they're in such a good run of form. But this is Arsenal, isn't it? You know, they always do this. From 3 good games, and then they crumble against a team who they should be beating at home. So
that's like the story of Arsenal's life.
Yeah,
I mean, every season there's so much promise right up till October, November, and it just goes to bits.
Yeah.
I mean, last season I thought was the closest we've ever expected them to go, you know, do so well and have such a long good run. But then, what was it, February? Then all kind of crumbled.
But you kind of look at their team and you think there isn't any reason why they shouldn't win the league because they've got the players.
Exactly.
It's just a bit of the mentality around. I mean, Ozil had a great game against Bayern Munich, but you can just imagine him turning up today and just being anonymous against an Everton team that will want to get sort of in and amongst him and stop and affecting play. So
and for Everton, I think, you know, we don't often talk about the goalie, but Tim Howard, I thought, did a couple of fantastic saves last week. The goal line should have been, you know, should have been high. The scoring should have been higher. So, and, you know, funnily, I always look at Tim Howard, I thought, oh, the goalkeeper we didn't want at Man United. But he's gone on and done fantastically well for so many years at Everton. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Any stats that point towards an Everton win, Nick?
Well, they are unbeaten in the last 5 away games.
Okay,
So
yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad.
Tick.
Yeah, but you've got no question for me again, right?
Oh, sorry, Brian.
Yeah, no. Well, I've got one for you.
Okay.
All right. So the Arsenal have not lost to Everton in the last 21 meetings. The last time Everton won was at Highbury. Score was 2-1. Who scored?
21 years ago.
21 years ago.
What's that?
2-1.
95?
Yeah, 95. Graham Stewart.
Right, Graham Stewart.
Oh, nice.
Ah, well done.
And
95.
I can see the kit. It's the NEC kit.
The NEC, yeah.
Graham Stewart, yeah.
Ken Chelskis?
Yes, Ken Chelskis.
Oh,
fantastic job. But anyway, well, since the opening day loss, we know they lost to West Ham. Arsenal have not conceded a single goal at home. And as if they don't have enough motivation to win, they're just 2 goals away from their 900th Premier League home goal. But Everton, no slouch, as I said, unbeaten in their last 5 away games and conceding just 2 goals away from Goodison Park this season. And watch out for those subs the Toffees bring on. Everton's substitutes have tasted the most success, scoring 5 goals for the team, the highest in the league. Overall, Arsenal look good to win tonight, but and Everton are going to have to dig deep if they want to win, and all hope that the Gunners have an off day.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
It's the Andy Penders Show on Red Card Live. You can watch us now on YouTube, or we're live on StarHub Channel 225. We're also live on the Red Card Live app. We're with Patrick Johnson, Dan Bond and Evelyn Tay. On the way, Harvey Davis joins us to talk about unearthing the next superstar footballer in Southeast Asia. As we get Harvey into the studio, let's cross back over to Nick with the news.
Thanks, Andy. We start with football, and the USA have been confirmed as the hosts for next year's Copa America. This marks the first time the tournament will be held outside of South America. The USA said between 8 and 13 stadiums with a seating capacity of at least 50,000 will be used for the competition. In tennis, top seed David Ferrer has reached the semi-finals of the Erste Bank Open after beating Italy's Fabio Fognini. The Spaniard came from behind in the first set to record a 6-4, 6-2 victory. Elsewhere, South Africa's Kevin Anderson was dumped out by American Steve Johnson 5-7, 7-6, 6-4, while Latvian Ernest Gulbis upset Croatia's Ivo Karlovic 7-6, 7-6. And finally, in the Rugby World Cup, Argentina have made one change ahead of their semi-final with Australia. Outside centre Marcelo Bosch returns from suspension after he was given a one-match ban for a dangerous tackle against Namibia. Bosch replaces Matthias Moroni, who was dropped out of the squad altogether despite a decent showing against Ireland.
You're listening to Red Card Sports Radio.
This weekend on Barclays Premier League Live, Arsenal versus Everton from the Emirates Stadium.
Sanchez still going, gets the shot away! Stunning goal! 3-0 Arsenal, and Alexis Sanchez has done it again! Naismith, tight angle, but he scored! Stephen Naismith with a hat-trick against the champions! Goodison Park is erupting!
Hear every kick on Barclays Premier League Live.
Score flashes and the best footballing guests. Red Card Sports Radio.
This weekend on Barclays Premier League Live, Manchester United versus Manchester City from Old Trafford.
Young drives it across the face of goal. Mata! 3-0. Juan Mata puts the icing on the cake. It's another testing cross. Aguero slides in the far post. He's only got 5. Sergio Aguero, lethal.
Hear every kick on Barclays Premier League Live.
You're with Andy Penders on Red Card Sports Radio.
It's Saturday night, there's no football on, which means everyone's tuned in to the show as we preview some of the 10 o'clock games. We've had some cracking co-hosts on the show already. Patrick Johnson, Dan Bond, Evelyn Tay has been with us, joining us in the studio. Good for a friend of mine, I guess I could say. Hi, Harvey Davis.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Hey, former ESPN colleagues.
Yep, 16 years at ESPN.
Did you do 16 years?
16 years, Hong Kong, US, Singapore, back to Singapore.
Wow. So what were you doing originally?
Started in their commercial department, working on the legal side, then moved to the US to run the X Games franchise, global franchise for them, and then came back to Singapore and ran the events department for them. Long 16 years, but a great 16 years, especially the X Games times. Fantastic event, fantastic property, lots of fun.
We'll talk about JSSL in a moment.
Sure.
But I'm just thinking, we have Victor on the show, so would he have worked with you, Victor Quay?
Yes, Victor was one of our managers handling our events before he moved into the MMA world.
Big time. He's the Don King of 1FC now, isn't he? The Don King of MMA.
Yes, and it's growing, I believe, getting larger and larger.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
But then you left ESPN Star Sports and then went, not initially full-time, but now full-time at JSSL, is that right?
So basically I was helping running the soccer school for a few years, and then finished up at ESPN. As I said, 16 years. It was a good time to leave, just after Fox came in, and then been full time at JSSL, and now we're running multiple events, multiple properties, side by side with the soccer school.
Yeah, and it's a league that's doing. An organisation that's doing very well. There's many different facets to the setup as well. You're trying to revolutionise youth soccer in Singapore. You've got an elite academy. You've got soccer courses and leagues and camps and a lot of events going on.
Yeah, I think the event side of me, has kind of taken over. So we got the soccer school, which is an Arsenal soccer school, affiliated to Arsenal. So looking for them to win from a business standpoint tonight, because it's always good for us. And they had a good win at the week. And then we've also got an event side, which basically we do the JSSL Singapore Sevens at the PAHANG, which is the largest youth tournament in Asia now, 140 teams from 13 nations. That was in March, and we're in our 4th year now.
And what does JSSL stand for?
It stands for Junior Soccer School and League.
Gotcha.
So my old partner who set it up initially, it was his acronym, JSSL, yeah. Right. So we've got our sevens, we've got our leagues, which is the largest and the most professional youth league in Singapore, from under 6s all the way to 16s. We've got, I think, 8 leagues, something like 22 divisions, over 2,000 children playing at 4 venues any one weekend, serving the soccer community here in Singapore for all the clubs and teams. And then we've got camps, and we've got a new camp that we're doing in Phuket in December. And then last year we launched our Elite Academy program, and we're looking to tie up with another Premier League team as we connect with them on secondments of players over to the UK for training stints.
Who's that?
I'll have to let you know next time. It's still in the works, but we were visited by a football academy from the UK. They liked our program, they liked our setup, and hopefully over the next few weeks we'll be able to announce a long-term partnership with them on the academy basis.
Oh, great.
So yeah.
I guess a lot of the problems that we see in terms of Singapore football is the coaching. Dan's a coach. He's a budding coach and doing a lot of voluntary charity work.
Voluntary stuff. So actually it's down at Home United where I coach, and JSSL have a competition there Saturday, don't they? Well, we have one of our training venues. So we have 5 centres on the island, and that's now our new home, 2 pitches. So
we were at Victoria Junior College as our main venue, and then we've left there and we're now at the Haifa grounds, which is great. Good setup, good people. We've invested quite a bit to make it, feel like a real home. A lot of signage, a lot of nice things that we've done down there, and it's good.
You got some good coaches?
I think, as you said, one of the issues in Singapore, I think the bottom line is the lack of quality coaches in Singapore. And I think what the new technical director here and his team are looking to do is fantastic. But unless they can really address the coaching issue, it's going to be challenging. We've had JSSL players, especially a year 2000 group of boys, 9 or 11 of them went into sports school, went into the NFA program, didn't really see the development that we would have liked to have seen over the last 3 years for them. And it predominantly comes down to the fact that, the coaching program and the coaching staff that they have needs a bit of work on it.
Yeah, that's a real problem, isn't it?
For sure, definitely.
So have you seen any kids do particularly well from the school, from the academy?
I mean, I think from a Singapore standpoint, we've had 9 or 10 of those boys now playing for Singapore under-15s. I think they're in the Lion City Cup that you were at the other day. And they've been playing in the AFF, AFC, but I think there's a big difference between the standard and level that the Singaporean team are playing at and what you see from likes of Thailand, other countries. But it was.
Do you go into each of these countries and have a look at the setups there? And is there something you can learn to implement into your setup?
I think what we learn is when we go to other tournaments. So we go to about 5 or 6 tournaments a year. The biggest one we go to is Sweden, to the Gothia Youth World Cup. We take 7 teams, 9 teams, normally 5 or 6 boys, 2 or 3 girls teams, and we benchmark ourselves against that. So last year our girls made it to the finals. They lost to a Swedish academy team, and we had a boys team make it to the quarters. This year our boys made it to the semis, lost to another academy team. The girls made the quarters, and we had 2 boys teams also make the quarters. So our standard and level and the qualities that we're turning out is improving. In Asia, normally we go to the Royal Selangor Cup in KL, we go to Bangkok, and at least 1 or 2 of our teams will win one of the age groups. And so really it's a matter of setting new benchmarks and trying to get to achieve them. But within JSSL, we've definitely got some talented boys that we will be sending over to the UK for training stints. And what comes of it, we'll see. If they are liked and they get looked at, and the club says, yeah, actually, we like this boy, we want to see him then for 6 weeks, for a 6-week trial, and then from there, who knows.
Okay, that's good enough for sort of expatriate kids because they don't need any visas or any work permits to go over there. Where can Singaporeans go to get that top flight level practice and coaching and training? Because they can't go to the UK presumably. I remember the Liverpool guy that came here and said he'd love to sign Fandy's kid.
Yeah, I mean, FIFA are very strict now on the rules that they've implemented after what went on with Barcelona. All I would say is there are ways. If a club or team wants a player badly enough, they'll find a way.
And if Harvey says there's ways, that to me sounds like it can be done.
Is the proper rule that the national team's got to be in the top 50 in the world ranking for you to have a chance to get a visa?
Top 75 or something?
Top 75. I could be wrong. I thought that was it. I thought it was something like the top 50 or top 75 gives a player from that country a better chance to get a visa to go and play abroad. So then, to me, that would mean that it's got to start with the national team at every level. Because you've got to get that national team to a certain standard in order to then start farming players out. But I know what you mean. I'm sure there's ways around it, but whether they're legit, I don't know.
And also it depends on the age of the children, because once you hit 16, then you become eligible to be signed. Whereas between 10 and 16, there are different rules, very stringent rules to prevent clubs just bringing kids over and placing them there. But I think at the end of the day, if the child or the player has the talent and he gets scouted and he gets looked at, then a club will find a way to keep them, either they could be training where they are but coming on regular stints every 3 months for 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks until they turn 16, or the clubs will find ways.
It's kind of difficult to for countries that have national service. It's very difficult to plan, say, a 10-year plan or even a 5-year plan when these kids are 16, 17. I'm just trying to think where is national service done where football is successful.
South Korea, probably.
Yeah.
But I think you have to your national service is, I think, more you can do it before you're 30 rather than requiring you need to do it when you're
right.
I think Singapore's reaching a stage where if they have 1 or 2 or 3 players, or even one player that reaches that level, and he has to come back and do national service, there's no way that child or that person or that player will ever be able to catch up those 2 years. So there will become a time very shortly, I think, especially with some of Andy's kids, where decisions will have to be made, and it will set a precedent. And if they don't allow that person to, say, defer their NS till maybe they're 27, 28, which it makes a lot of sense to me, then the message that they're telling Singaporeans is there's no chance for a Singaporean to play in the English Premier League or any professional league around the world, because those years are critical. And if you take those 2 years away, then there's no chance whatsoever.
We've seen in the swimming though as well. I mean, they have deferred for Joseph's schooling and stuff. So maybe there's.
But they're doing it on a 6 month, you know. So I think they need to address it, you know. Otherwise, really, sports in Singapore, where can it really go? Because you've got to think those years at the, you know, yes, 12 to 14 to 15 is your development year as a youth player and even younger. But if you're getting to that stage and getting to that level, and then all of a sudden you're 17 or 18, you've got to get pulled back. There's no way a club will then bring you back after those 2 years.
I was at my peak then, 17, 19, controlling that midfield.
Many years ago.
Oh, many years ago. So every weekend, are there midweek leagues that you run as well?
We run our leagues at the weekend on Sundays, and we do training. So our elite program and our elite children, they will train Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, play in our leagues every Sunday. So just
how many in that elite program?
We have an elite program of 75 to 80 children. Then we have a next gen program. So the next generation is the group of players that didn't quite make the elite, are given the same training program, the same structure, same organization, also play in the leagues every week, but are kind of knocking on the door, keeping the elite players on their toes. So last year we had the elite program. This year we've expanded it to the next gen. And then we've got the soccer school program. It's about 1,200 children.
Do you get any funding?
It's all funded by parents, I mean, by the fees and the way we run it as a business.
Okay.
So
And any association with FAS? Anything formal or informal? I don't know.
We're registered as a soccer school here. I think for us, we like to run our programs on our own, whether it's our leagues, our sevens, and our soccer school. But at the end of the day, we do provide FAS with, you know, some of the best young footballers. As I said, 7 or 8, 9, maybe 11 are at sports school, and then they go through that program into NFA. And if we've got young players that are talented players, then we always encourage them to be a part of the COE program. But there they only train once a week, so it's really kind of lip service, although I understand that will change next year to 3 sessions a week, which is great. So we're happy to develop the young players, and when they get to that level, the right level, to kind of hand them over to the Football Association. Yeah.
It's quite a competitive space in Singapore, I'm tipping. The running of leagues and getting cash off parents to pay for it.
I think Singapore's a unique market. The parents here, it's not about the money, it's about the service and the quality that you're providing. And there's plenty of competition in the sense that, you know, I think the last 2-3 years we used to be the only Premier League soccer school in Singapore. Now you've got Chelsea, Milan, Real Madrid and Barcelona. So within the space of 2 years, all of a sudden, you know, you had a lot of competition. Man U came and went after 6 months. And I think the issue is, yes, parents are willing to pay. Yes, there's a demand for this, and but at the end of the day, you've got to deliver quality, and the expectations are quite high.
And what do you deliver then? You deliver that in terms of your coaching, in terms of your organisation, in terms of your passion and commitment, or what?
I think it starts from your passion, your commitment, and that then is seen through from your staff, the coaching program that you run, the facilities that you set up. So if you come to JSSL, if you see it at Haifa, you know, it's like it's a JSSL home. Signage, boards everywhere. It's not like you go to Turf City, 1 minute you've got Chelsea, the next minute you've got someone else, next minute you've got someone else. So we take over our venues for the whole day. We invest in tents, chairs, coffee, everything. So the parents come, they feel comfortable. The kids come, they feel proud. Most of our kids are not Arsenal fans. We don't, you know, ram the Arsenal logo down their throat. They come with their Man U, but when they're on the pitch, they wear their JSSL Arsenal top. They feel proud to belong to something.
So Arsenal are basically, they're giving you a rubber stamp.
Yeah, it's a license deal.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a good brand.
Great brand.
So it does well. Our elite academy is separate. There's no brand attached to that, so we can go off and we're doing different deals, as I said, with academies in the UK.
Okay.
But then what JSSL offers is not just a 90-minute soccer class. We create a community for the kids and the parents.
Must be a great community. This touches so many different people.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the young ones from 3 years all the way to the older ones. And the nice thing now is that we've seen our young ones go all the way through to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And some of them, especially at the ages of 12, 13, 14, have been with us since they were 6 or 7, very talented players. Really excited for them. Some of them will be off next year to UK on a 2-week stint. And as I said, who knows what will happen. So in addition to that, not only do we create the soccer community, but then you've got our events. You know, you've got the sevens. So about 300 JSSL children will play in the sevens.
What age groups are they?
From 8s all the way to 15s. This year, we just opened the entries last Monday. We've got 142 spots. We've already got 160 teams within 5 days applying for entries for the sevens.
Wow. And where's that down? Where's that?
PAHANG.
Yeah, awesome. So good event.
Good location.
Perfect location.
Yeah. So we've done it for 3 years now, and all the international teams love it because we run it like an ESPN event.
Right.
So we come in, you've got signage, everything's taken care of, you've got a VIP stand, you've got nice stands for parents, Subway selling their stuff. So it's run professionally, not like we go to a youth tournament, it's in a park, it's in a school, you know, it's just a normal kind of school event. The way we run it is, you know, after 16 years of ESPN, run it like an event. So
you ever played on the PAHANG, Dan?
No, but I saw the tournament in March.
Right.
Yeah, JSSL, and it's very impressive. Good setup, and every Friday I'm down at Home United. You talk about the tents and the trophies and all the chairs out for the families. It's really, really good setup they've got there. They've been there for a couple of months now, haven't they?
Yeah, it's about 2 months.
Yeah.
We invested quite heavily to really make it feel, you know, we put AstroTurf on all the gravel, so parents are walking on something nice, not just turning up. We've got chairs, tables. Yeah. So yeah, and hopefully I think within the next 6 weeks we'll have Subway down there as well, so the parents can sit there, have their coffee, watch their little kids play.
Wow,
so,
different class.
Yeah.
Hey, that's good. If anyone's listening and they do want to enrol their kids, what do they do?
Just come down for a free trial to any of our venues. They can check out JSSL-Singapore.com and log online and can see all the different things that we're doing.
How much extra do you have to pay to get them into the elite class then?
They had to be selected.
Do they?
Yeah, it's a selection process.
Right.
But our fees are structured across all the different platforms. And basically you're just paying for the extra training sessions that you're having. But the nice thing that we've implemented is, you know, you talked about the coaches. We've got a nice mix. We've got international coaches, and I would say we've got some of the best local coaches. And when I mean the best, it's not about having an A license. You know, some of these coaches got A license, pro license, doesn't make them a good coach. It's about the passion. It's the communication and the commitment that they have. And I think all of our coaches in our elite program and also our soccer school program, fantastic group of coaches, very driven, very passionate. And we're starting to implement new methods and new communication methods through WhatsApp groups. So our teams are on WhatsApp groups, coaches sending out video clips, coaches actually analysing games and sending out post-game video clips to show things that we can improve on across all of our elite teams and our next-gen teams. So there's a lot of new methods that are coming on board, and you need a coach that, A, wants to do it, is committed to do it, and passionate to do it. And I think one of the issues is there aren't as many committed, passionate, and good coaches in Singapore that really will help the local Singaporean players get to the next level.
Get involved, Dan. Get involved, son.
Yeah.
He's just doing his C license, right?
Yeah, coming up. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
On the way?
Yeah, after Christmas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it's completely different to the JSSL Football Plus. It's very small. They started last year, and it's kind of based around values, and the kids, they're all Singaporean kids, and the kids that show the best values then get to play on the Sunday. So not necessarily the best footballers will play. It's trying to drive it back to their mentality and way of thinking and developing them. As the JSSL is, you know, this big organisation that seems to be everywhere now and doing really well.
We're growing, but I mean, I think we hit all different levels. So we have our elite program, but at the same time, our soccer school program is really for the child that is a beginner. And also they can play in the league. So we've got within the leagues, let's say the under 10s, we've got 5 divisions in the Championship League. So you could be a Division 4 or Division 5 player, and you can be a beginner.
Yeah.
And there's JSL players and teams and other teams in that league. And then there's a promotion relegation between each division. So at the end of December, the top 2 teams get promoted and the bottom 2 teams get relegated. And the idea there is that you might have two teams that are a bit too strong for that league or that division. So with the promotion relegation, the next half of the season from January to April, the matches are much more evenly contested. And the idea is that you want every team playing at a similar level, similar ability. You don't want 10-0s, 20-0s. You want an even contest, whether it's for a beginners group, intermediate or advanced group. So we have promotion relegations from our Championship League, also in our Super League. And then this year what we did for the Super League, again, our top league, is we found that there's 3 or 4 teams, 5 teams that were really strong, 3 or 4 not so strong. So again, halfway through the season in January, the top 4 teams go to Super League Division 1. The bottom 4 or 5 go into Super League Division 2. Each team plays each other twice then, so the games are more competitive. Because there is a big discrepancy. You've got some clubs and teams that are really strong, and you've got others that are in the middle.
Are you developing some good girls as well?
Well, we have. We launched our girls program about 2.5, 3 years ago, and we have over 200 girls. So on a Saturday afternoon, we do the 14s at 2:30, and then when they finish, the 12s and the 10s come in, and when they finish, the 6 and 8s, and it's a sea of pink. So the nice thing at the new venue is that we've got 2 pitches. So one pitch is all girls, and the girls are great. You know, they love their football, and what we found is when you have girl numbers and you put them together, it just explodes. It's social, it's recreational, and they don't like to be pushed around by the boys. So we gave them their own identity. They design their own kit, their own colour. They have pink footballs, mauve footballs, so they feel proud to be playing football as a group. And then, as I said, 2 years ago, we went to Gothia with the girls team. They made it all the way to the finals. Fantastic achievement. And then last year they made it to the quarters. So our girls program is healthy. It continues to grow. Every week, they're just bringing friends and friends down, you know. So it's nice to see.
At that age, can you not mix them up? Girls against boys?
You can at the younger age, but when they start to get 10, 11, 12, the boys get a bit more physical. But what we do is our girls, we've got an elite girls team, 12s, and they play against the boys. They train against the boys. So again, we've got different levels for different abilities. So where you've got a girls team that is strong enough to play against the boys, then we'll match them against the boys. But they like to train together as a group. I think their development is very different. But we have had a couple of girls that are good enough to play in the boys team, and they will play both. They'll play the girls with their girls, and they'll push them and challenge them to play in one of the boys' teams.
That's great.
Yeah.
So the ultimate aim is to get a Singapore international, or someone from your academy
in the EPL.
Time, big time, yeah.
In the EPL.
What a story that would be.
And I think we're not that far away, to be honest.
Wow.
At least getting a couple of players in an academy.
Because they don't have to be. They can be 16, 17 to make a first team appearance now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think.
Go on. Who's next? Go on. Give us the name.
No names.
Give us the name to watch out for.
There's a few boys that, as I said, will be going over to the UK the next couple of months, few months, training with an academy. Hopefully, then being offered a contract to train in the academy, and then 14, 15, 16, 17. Who knows? Yeah. The most important thing I think for them is that the level of development that they'll receive in Singapore, especially the level of development in the Singapore program, isn't good enough to challenge them and to push them enough. So if they're in Japan or if they're in Australia, better development for sure. And that's why FAS came out and said, you know, they got 3-4 boys they want to start sending overseas and seconding into FC Metz or Valencia, or, you know, where they've got tie-ups. And that's what they need to do. They need to get the players, the best players, overseas so that they can be challenged in their training program with better coaches and predominantly better players around them. Because if you're training with a group of players that isn't at your level, then you're being pulled down. You need to be challenged all the time and pushed. And I think, you know, that's FAS have definitely got the right ideas, the right plans. Their idea about, you know, a training centre, sending players overseas or more players overseas, because they do it anyway. More training for centre of excellence players. I mean, it's all the right direction. It needs to be supported with the right coaches. Otherwise, it's not really going to go anywhere. And the question is whether they will be given the support to see it through. And we hope so, because then Singapore will definitely be in a better place in 5 years' time than where it is now.
Hey, Harvey, it's good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too.
I'm glad everything's going well.
Just need to get rid of the haze.
Oh, but that's been absolute torture for you guys, isn't it?
Well, I mean, even today we got one session in at 5 o'clock, but it was it's not fun for the kids, and I think the parents now, their levels and expectations is You know, whereas before at 100 psi, no one would go out. Now it's 150. They're like, okay, let's get them out, do something outdoors. So yeah, it's a bit challenging, but hopefully it will clear up.
Okay. Hey, drop by again.
Yeah, I will too.
Yeah, let us know how, you know, what sort of all these agreements that you're starting to do with all these top academies around Europe, and be really interesting to know. So Harvey Davis from JSSL, you can get involved with a lot of what they're doing on their website, and yeah, good to see you. We're with Dan Bond, Patrick Johnson, Evelyn Tay's with us on the Andy Penders Show. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you all the team news for those 10 o'clock games. Plus, we'll talk to Jörg Steinbrunner, coach of Galen International, and talk German Bundesliga.
Enter a new generation of sports. Red Card Sports Radio.
This weekend on Barclays Premier League Live, Sunderland versus Newcastle United from the Stadium of Light.
Jeremy Lentz is onside and he looks to chip the goalkeeper. It's in off the bar. Would you believe it? Sunderland are 2-0 up.
The ball is breaking in for Wijnaldum inside the penalty area. Oh, and a header by Mitrovic. It's in. Newcastle have taken the lead.
Hear every kick on Barclays Premier League Live.
With Andy Penders on Red Card Sports Radio.
This weekend on Barclays Premier League Live, West Ham United versus Chelsea from Upton Park.
So Pantilimon didn't get there, and Payet sweeps home on the rebound, and West Ham are back on terms against the 10 men. Now Remy, Monreal makes the block, Hazard goes for it, it deflects into the goal, and Chelsea have a second.
Hear every kick on Barclays Premier League Live.
You're with Andy Penders on Red Card Sports Radio.
And you know, the more times we play that tune, the more times you're going to like it. Already Dan Bond tapping his foot away as we play some acid jazz with the flute. Patrick Johnson, Dan Bond, Evelyn Tay with us on the Andy Penders Show. We're lucky enough to be joined by Galen International coach Jörg Steinbrunner. Hi, Jörg.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Really good, bro. This haze is causing you lots of problems.
Hello, Andy.
Oh yeah, hey, bro. This haze is causing you so many problems.
Yeah, no problem. Andy, I can't really hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Okay, buddy. Well, I'll get Nicholas to sort that out. We'll just can you hear me now, Jörg?
A little bit better, but not really clear, sorry.
Okay, I'll talk closer to the mic. Can you hear me now, buddy? Yeah, we're going to have to call you back. I guess it's a shame because we're looking forward to some German Bundesliga action with Bayern Munich, looking for their 1,000th win in the German Bundesliga. It's game over already in the Bundesliga, isn't it? Done. Dusted. Borussia Dortmund second, Schalke third, Wolfsburg fourth, Hertha Berlin fifth. Hamburg heaping pressure on Hoffenheim coach Marcus Gisdol. 1-0 win at the Rhein-Neckar Stadion, leaving the host inside the Bundesliga relegation zone. Pierre-Michel Lasogga scoring the only goal of the game. Mainz against Werder Bremen. That kicks off in 20 minutes' time. Massive problem for Viktor Skripnik. Yeah. Year ago he took over and it's all gone downhill really after taking over Robert Dutt. Hanover against Eintracht. Hey, Nick, I'm scrambling here, bro. You keep going, yeah? Okay, I haven't got anyone to talk Bundesliga with. I'm just joking. I know exactly what I'm on about. Hanover against Eintracht. That's at 9:30. Bayern against FC Köln. That kicks off in 20 minutes. They could end the weekend 10 points clear. Bayer Leverkusen against Stuttgart. Ingolstadt, the hipsters team to follow, against Hertha Berlin. That's a 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. Dortmund against Augsburg. Mönchengladbach against Schalke. Jörg Steinbrunner is back. Jörg, can you hear me better?
Slightly better, yeah, Andy.
Okay, let's talk German Bundesliga, bro. I want to talk about what happened last night with Hamburg heaping the pressure on Hoffenheim coach Marcus Gisdol.
Yeah, I think it's a bad result for him. I think when you saw the news also over the last few days, the president has met with some senior players and key players over the last few days, not included the coaching staff, and that already sounds or spells some trouble in German media. And the result last night didn't really help in Gistol's case. So I guess in the next maybe 48 hours we might gonna get some really news from Hoffenheim, because I think that meeting between some key players and the president, Hopp, and not including the coach, I think that also already spelled some trouble.
Talking to coaches under pressure, what about Werder Bremen? Things are going terribly for them.
It's going terribly. You're right, Andy, and it didn't help that Viktor Skripnik, last week after the game, he had to really go on the media, and he lost a little bit his head. He had to make a report with the sporting director Thomas Eichin. So it's a big game for them definitely today, and he's another coach where you would say, if they're not going to get anything out of the Mainz game, then possibly it could be his last game.
Yeah, a year ago his first game was against Mainz. Elsewhere we've got Darmstadt against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg still winless on their travels this season.
Yeah, and it's not an easy place to go, Darmstadt. I mean, when you look at Darmstadt so far, they have never dropped below 12th position. They are gathered already 13 points. The stadium at home, it's going to be buzzing. It's only fitting about 20,000 people in. And, like you say, another question is which team is he going to put out? I mean, on Tuesday, there's another big game for them coming up in the German Cup against Bayern Munich. So are they going to look already on that game? Is he going to put out the full team, Dieter Hecking? Will be a surprise what's going to happen there. But definitely not an easy game to go to Darmstadt, because in the end of the day, I think Darmstadt, at home, nothing to lose. If they get another point, that's a great result for them,
Bayern Munich have already won the Bundesliga. They reached the landmark figure of 1,000 Bundesliga wins this weekend if they beat FC Köln. Does it disappoint you that Bayern are just so strong, Jörg?
I think it's disappointing for the league, Andy, because you would actually think that the league should be more equal, and at the start of the season, I mean, you look at Wolfsburg last year, they were a good runner-up, and then you looked at Dortmund coming in this year, with Thomas Tuchel as coach, but when you look at the two results, what really stood out is it's the 2 5-1s against Dortmund and Wolfsburg, and that showed how dominant Bayern Munich really is. And I think it's like you mentioned already. I think the season who's going to win it, that's done and dusted already, in my opinion. It's only about how many records they're going to break, how many points they're going to get, Bayern Munich. I think it's more on the race who's going to finish second, third, and fourth for the Champions League spots, and who's going to get Europa League, plus who's going to get relegated. But you're right. I mean, Bayern Munich, with the players they got in Douglas Costa, I mean, he has been a great buy. You look at Koeman, who came in, the 19-year-old, they just get the right players in to make it even better. And we even haven't talked about Ribéry and Robben. They haven't started. I mean, it looks like that Robben going to be on the bench today. I mean, they can only get better, isn't it?
I agree, absolutely. It's amazing signings that they got, Diego Costa and Koeman. But Bayer Leverkusen against Stuttgart, that kicks off in 14 minutes' time. Elsewhere, Ingolstadt against Hertha Berlin. Couple of games on Sunday worth looking forward to. Dortmund against Augsburg, Jürgen. Mönchengladbach against Schalke.
I think when you just, Dortmund against Augsburg, you would say, that should be 3 points for Dortmund at home. Augsburg, they still a good side. I mean, they're a little bit in unfamiliar territory this year, but I think, they are getting a little bit of heat because of the Europa League. But they got a good win against AZ Alkmaar. Maybe that's going to lift them a little bit, and they might gonna come up with a surprise result in Dortmund. But I think if things go normal, then Dortmund should get the 3 points. But a big one, like you said, also Gladbach against Schalke. I mean, Gladbach, since they have changed coach, or not changed, I mean, he went on his own. you know, and Schubert, they won 4 games. They got a decent result now in Juventus, so they are definitely a team on the high. Schalke, you know, they have done well under Breitenreiter, so it should be a cracking game. And actually, when you look at both of these teams, you expect them to be at the end in the top 6 anyway.
Hey Jörg, good to speak to you. How's life at Geylang? Everything okay?
Everything is okay unless we always have a lot of haze, Andy.
Yeah.
You know, got another game cancelled last night, so that's a little bit of a headache.
I saw that. Yeah, Hougang did the header challenge in the changing room. I saw that they. Did you see that, Jörg? They posted that on social media.
Which one, Andy?
Well, they did this header challenge. Yeah, I think Chelsea started it, didn't they? Where they headed the ball from player to player within the team. The team in the dressing room. No, it doesn't matter. Hey, Jörg, good to speak to you.
Yes, Andy.
I'll speak to you soon, buddy. Best of luck with Geylang.
Okay, sounds good, Andy.
Yeah, cheers, bro. Good. Yeah, Jörg Steinrock. Looking forward to the German Bundesliga, which all seems done and dusted. Let's talk with Patrick now, shall we, about life as a journalist? And
oh yeah.
Well, you've had a sort of. It's been a mix. Okay, FIFA. Let's talk about FIFA first up, shall we? Because there's been a lot of. Well, it's always in the news, obviously.
It's the best soap opera on TV, isn't it? How many Emmys is this going to win? It's unbelievable.
Hey, so February 16th, February 26th?
26th.
Right.
Big day on Monday, though. That is when, if you want to be a candidate, you have to submit your paper and your 5 nominations on Monday.
I knew I had to do something about that.
So there you go. Stick that.
Just write that down.
So
Could I throw my name in the hat as well?
Feed cat, buy milk, submit papers.
That is literally my life as well.
Okay, good.
So let's look at some of the candidates. First up, it's International Champagne Day, right? So Jerome Champagne.
Yeah, he's good. He apparently has 8 nominations. He stood last time, but he...
very close to... He was quite close to Blatter, isn't he? From sort of Blatter associate.
You have to be careful what you say, but when you get these candidates that have already worked at FIFA and you're seeing what has happened at FIFA for the last 30, 20 years and how bad everything was, it's not great if you ever work there in a senior capacity, which he did. It's not great that Platini, who worked there and is now under suspension. Issa Hayatou, who is now the standing president, he has allegations against him. Sheikh Salman, the head of Asian football, he's reported to possibly stand. There's allegations against him. It's not good. And FIFA Pro, the World Players Union, they put out a really strong statement on Friday. How much weight they carry. I mean, they're a big voice, but how much they get listened to, but is another thing. But they were demanding, really, for the first time, an outside candidate, which the rules just don't really allow for, to be honest. So
I think we should send Karen Brady in.
Karen Brady, yeah. Maybe someone different. I know David Ginola was talking about standing again. I know Ramon Vega, some of these players. I know there was the Trinidad footballer whose name escapes me.
David Nakid.
Yeah, he submitted his papers.
Yeah, he's in. So there's 6 already, I think, isn't there?
So there's lots. So let's see what comes. I mean, we'll know by next week's show. We'll know who's standing and whatnot. But
So Platini can still stand even though he's been suspended?
Well, they don't even know, do they?
Well, this is it. He's under suspension, but he has submitted papers. He then still has to go through an ethics check.
Yeah.
How he can pass them. He claims innocence.
Everyone denies any wrongdoing. Let's just make that.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely clear. Everyone has denied everything.
I think Fergie should stand.
Maybe Fergie should
I'm
stand.
impartial.
He's track record for managing big egos and clearing house. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I mean, just as a fan of football, I mean, it would just disband the whole thing and allow continents just to rotate organising the World Cup.
I was about to say that, the concept of just disbanding FIFA. I know a lot of people probably, don't even want to think about it, but if you've produced nothing but scandal and inconsistency and, wrongdoings, what's the point of keeping that
Totally. And I mean, it's just very, very sad, isn't it? Really.
You talk about Ferguson there, though, and he's obviously a football man who doesn't need the money anymore.
Right.
There would be an argument to suggest that it should be someone on a voluntary basis, where there's going to be no money involved.
No monetary
in terms
incentives.
Incentives, yeah. And someone who loves the game, and what better way for not saying he will or should do it, but what better way for a man or a lady of football to go in and clean the whole thing up
Right.
on a voluntary basis,
Yeah.
and come away and think, well, I've just changed the whole of the way that FIFA operates, and that will affect global football.
I think they'll get a lot of respect for that
for
and
the
support.
next generations.
Probably.
I
Yeah.
it can't be someone from within because they've already been tainted with the whole.
I was going to say, if you've already been there and you're close, buddy of Seb, how different is it going to be if this next person gets elected?
So, who's favourite then? I mean, I know you don't know who's submitted, but everyone's saying Prince Ali bin Al Hussein. They're saying he's overseeing a lot of FIFA initiatives here in Asia. Sheikh Salman bin Abraham Al Khalifa, to give him his full name.
Yeah.
He'll probably garner a lot of support in Europe as well, won't he?
Well, if Platini, there's so many ifs
This is
and
it, yeah.
buts.
Well, they're saying he might take away
maybes.
from Platini's vote as well. But he's under some suspicion of being, what's the right wording I can use?
Well, the allegations against him revert back to the Arab uprising and whether or not there's a lot of human rights groups that make a lot of accusations against Sheikh Salman that he had a hand as part of the royal family in Bahrain to quash the pro-democracy protests. He vehemently denied this. This came up a lot when he stood for the AFC presidency for the first time in 2013, and he managed to convince enough of his members around Asia that wasn't an issue, and he's been fine. But it's come up again because there's been talk that, having said he would back Blatter, having then changed his mind and said he would back Platini, and then seeing what's happened to those two, he is now understood to be considering running. So obviously all this has come up again about his past, so we will see. One thing that Evelyn, you might like to know, that he does support Manchester United.
Yeah, but still. Can
But-
we use the money? I don't know.
But
Maybe.
yeah, so I mean, it looks like he will probably stand unless he can find another candidate to support. But the weird thing and the most disruptive thing about Asian football is everybody talks about wanting unity in Asian football, but he is completely against Prince Ali. They don't get on at all, so we could have rival Asian candidates.
Speaking of famous supporters, if I can just jump in there, I was reading this thing about Xi Jinping visiting the UK, and apparently he and Cameron had a pint in a pub. Apparently he's a Man United supporter, but funnily they brought him to the Man City stadium for a tour yesterday, and they took a selfie with him and Cameron photobombed them, but you could just see he just looked unimpressed and barely cracked a smile.
That's why he wasn't smiling in that selfie.
No, he was very
with Aguero.
distant from Aguero.
Okay.
It's
so
a good selfie,
that
though. I never
explains
thought
it.
I'd see a selfie with those three in.
Yeah, no, it was a great picture of him and Cameron having a pint in the pub. I thought that was
It
was a really good photo.
Definitely.
Anyways, we digress.
But going back to FIFA, I was listening to Gary Neville talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and he was, for the first time ever, I saw him. He didn't really know how to answer it. He just said, said what we've said just a minute ago about potential candidates and what should happen, and in the end, he just kind of went, but who knows what's going on? No one knows, do they?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows what is left to come out.
Yeah.
This is the thing. If you could put your name forward tomorrow, and there might be an unbelievable. I'm sure they wouldn't, Dan, because you strike me as a great guy. But the FIFA smear campaign might engulf you too. We just don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
Maybe Gary should run.
Yeah,
Gary.
maybe. But I think this is the problem. I think we all, as fans, would think it should be a football person that runs it, someone that's played the game. But we're looking at the deals that these confederations and FIFA strike and the sponsorship. That this is so far removed from what we were talking about earlier about whether Watford could score some goals today or whether Tim Sherwood would get a win. This is so far away, and I think it's the only reason that there is that distance, is that thankfully we can all just concentrate on the football and just kind of shake our heads at what's going on in the boardrooms.
Well, that's why Ramon Vega says he's the ideal candidate. He's got a football experience and a financial background as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Clean ethics?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah.
But,
What do you would have thought so? Yeah, I mean,
Well,
obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course. But why not, though? He's a football man, and he's gone away from football, and he's been successful in another area of life, another career.
Yeah.
Totally.
Out of all the candidates that are out there, you know.
Totally. But the problem is it's not you or I that gets the vote. I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think, we talk about football being the global game, people in Tonga, Tahiti, Twickenham, it doesn't matter anywhere in the world you can play football. But these predominantly group of ageing men go to this boardroom, have overseen so much corruption, and they're still in charge of the game, and it's whether or not what they decide.
That's what gets me, when you're going to a game, packed into a stadium of 75,000 people. I recall the days, of being in the UK and going to games at Old Trafford, and it's 2 degrees outside and it's cold and miserable, and people are going to games week after week with unwavering, loyalty, and there you have these corruption and people, like you said, people in boardroom making decisions that affect fans that put up hundreds and thousands of hard-earned dollars to enjoy the game they love, and it's really sad, and I think that's really not right, and hopefully there's a better future for football governing bodies, but who knows.
Totally.
What other story was there this week?
Well, linking to that, actually, I spoke to the Crown Prince of Johor the other week. I went up to meet him, talking about Malaysian football and Malaysian football struggles, and he was linking to that about the problems that it has infiltrated down. That he kind of feels that what happens at the top is at the top of the FIFA tree. It kind of does filter down into the organisation. So he's talking about the problems they have there and his frustrations with it. We've had a Nepal match fixing case where the captain of the Nepal team is one of 5 players who's just done for match fixing Nepal matches going back to 2008. We've seen Kuwait getting done for government interference. We see Indonesia left, just in the wilderness still. We've got lots of problems in Asian football, and Sheikh Salman has promised to clean these things up, but it's a mark on his candidacy if he does stand for FIFA that these things are still happening. And we've talked about Harvey came in and talked about the problems with Singapore coaching, and things are just not developing. I think it's fine in the UK. We can look at what goes on at FIFA and still enjoy our Premier League product and 75,000 people at the stadium, like you say, Evelyn, and like good football. But when we're out in Malaysia and Nepal, Singapore, and we're wondering why our football's not getting off the ground, and we're looking at this organisational tree that is coughing up all these issues, that's when it's really bad. And I think that's the most disappointing thing. I need to get a bit more like Remy, our first caller in. He was so excitable and stuff. I feel like I'm bringing the mood down.
The Everton bloke dragged us down.
It's not really the subject, is it? Yeah.
But let's hope by Monday. Let's hope we've got some candidates with some great ideas. I mean, Prince Ali I've met him. He has some good ideas and interesting things. But again, he aligned himself with Platini before, very much against him now and spoken out about him. But again, another candidate that's been there and hasn't been able to make the changes. Yeah. So maybe we should all just get behind Ramon Vega.
Maybe we should. Anywhere that's got any votes involved, you're going to have a level of corruption, right? Nothing's going to change from that. Look at Franz Beckenbauer recently saying that obviously denying any wrongdoing, right? Issuing a statement denying allegations of a secret fund to secure votes to stage the event back in 2006. Yeah. And it's going to happen. Why put it to a vote then? I wonder if taking the vote aspect away from. I'm just talking about one aspect, obviously awarding of World Cups, but then you've got television rights to give away. You've got the multiple number of different events that FIFA have to organise as well.
I mean, how do we do it? Do we get governments to step in and organise these things? I don't know. FIFA has always been against governments stepping, having any.
Of course they would.
Any questions involved in football.
What happens with the Q8FA then?
Well, apparently they tried to change some sports laws and FIFA didn't like that, so they just said no, the government needs to leave the FA to be just be independent of it and not have to answer to any of these government rules. So they just went in straight in and banned them.
Wow.
But
Al-Qadsiya get knocked out.
So Al-Qadsiya but obviously Al-Qadsiya, and that affects. You have Al-Qadsiya and Al Kuwait who are in the semi-final of an AFC Cup, and they're just booted straight out of the competition. We don't know whether Kuwait are going to be kicked out of World Cup qualifying as well. I mean, they're the best second place side at the moment. They should be going through to the next round. But it looks like they could get kicked out in time. I mean, it's just...
At least it's being investigated, though. At least it's not just a presidential election. It's just who's going to get it. It would have been Platini, wouldn't it, if Sepp Blatter had stepped down like he's doing. At least it's being investigated. They've been all these guys have been suspended, and it should be a little bit more transparent. It at least gives us a chance, doesn't it, to get someone at the top who's going to be much better at doing the job. But it's still all this grey area, and don't really know what's going on. There's still a long way to go with it.
It is a positive step, though, isn't it? As like scary and kind of shocking as it is, reading and seeing what's happening, it is a green shoot that maybe we could get some good governance of the game.
Hope
to
so.
start,
AFC Cup final now. JDT against Istiklal.
Istiklal, of Tajikistan.
Yeah. Where's that being held? I can't remember.
In Tajikistan,
It's just
one leg
one
final. It might be on their. We might be on their artificial pitch,
right?
Which and they beat PAHANG, and I think it was the quarterfinals. And PAHANG weren't very happy about having to play on. I think Zesh Raymond was quite angry at having to play on an artificial pitch. So we'll see. JDT. I should say when I spoke to Crown Prince, he was looking forward to a semi-final, maybe overturning it, but now he can look forward to a final. So.
Just quietly, AFC Cup belongs in Q8.
Well, I think it's quite scary. I think they've got
always win it.
Yeah. Well, they've always had a team in the final. I think for the last 6 or 7 years. So the only way you can stop them is to get them banned. So, but it's really I have to say, this is just sums up everything. All the problems with FIFA is if you play for Al-Qadsia or Al-Kuwait, who have won their first leg 4-0 and 3-1. They're going through to a final. They've each won the last two AFC Cups, and then you just get a tap on the shoulder that something's going on political in your country and you can't play football. I mean, it's just ludicrous. I mean, absolutely ludicrous. Why did the players get punished?
Yeah. And then AFC Champions League final. This is the two-legged affair.
Yeah. Loving your commentary the other night.
I did some commentary for Fox. I got a bit excited.
Very excited. I thought I was with you. To give you a high five or something when that last goal went in. But
I said stick around as well. I half called it. Mind you, I thought Al Hilal were a bit unlucky.
They just stopped playing. I don't know if you guys... Al Ali scored, went 2-0 up very quickly at home. The first leg was drawn 1-0 in Saudi Arabia. So they're 3-1 up on aggregate, looking good. They just stopped playing. And Al Hilal came back, scored a couple of really good goals. The Carlos Eduardo goal was a brilliant strike. Andy got really excited. It was really good.
I can colour in your voice.
I can relive it if you like. It was Carlos Eduardo, right? Hang on, where's he from?
Brazil.
Oh, yes, good, because I called him Brazilian. I wasn't quite sure. I've got Carlos Eduardo from distance! Yes!
Like the Aguero goal, like Martin Tyler in the Aguero goal.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe Al Hilal got a bit distracted. They just stopped playing. They just tried to waste time, and they had half an hour.
That's dangerous.
And they just sunk back, and then 94th minute? Al Ali scored.
Taking on Guangzhou Evergrande, who had 0-0 against Gamba Osaka, winning 2-1 on aggregate. So Guangzhou Evergrande, supposed to be the team, right? Supposed to be the team. Come on, are they going to win it? It's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know. They had enough chances against Gamba, but they played... You can really see, a couple of years ago when they had Marcelo Lepi in charge, they just wanted to attack everyone. They just tried to... Doesn't matter. It was that kind of Ferguson kind of, you score 3, we'll score 4. And now Scolari's in, it's just... He's kind of, let's make sure we just get through, and it's kind of for the neutral.
His style, isn't it?
It's not as much fun. They struggled for goals the other night, and they've got Robinho in their squad, but they don't put him in their Champions League squad. They put other Brazilians instead. They were crying out for someone like him, so it's a bit of a shame. Ali, if they're allowed to go through, because there's a slight question mark about whether or not one of their players was ineligible. The Saudis might be complaining.
Good sound effect there.
Just when you were saying they might not go through,
that sounds like, that was perfect. The budget's going up here, guys. That's good to know.
We should get a whole load of sound effects.
For the record, right, I had no idea that when you closed Skype, it make a sound. So I'm just going I don't need Skype anymore, I'm just going to close.
This is former Liverpool, well, I can't really call him former Liverpool, but former Stoke. He was there, yeah. Saidi.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question mark. Saudis are complaining whether or not he shouldn't have played.
Oh, do me a favour. When he came on, he was very ineffective.
I know, he was only there for 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
this is a Dubai-based side who are paying 15 million quid for Everton Ribeiro. 7 million quid for Lima.
I think what we talk about, Harvey talks about sending players off to go and play with better players. I think China and the UAE are the two standouts in Asia for going out and, the rules permit you can have three foreign players and one Asian foreign player, but then you have a whole squad of those two nations have got two bright young international sides, and you can see when they put in big players like a Robinho, like Everton Ribeiro, someone like that, or Lima, it really makes a difference. And it's nice to see that it's a predominantly local side with just a little flickering of foreign talent just to really take them to the next level. But it should be a brilliant final if Scolari lets Guangzhou play. But we'll see.
2 legs, right? November 7th and November 21st?
That's it.
Off the top of my head?
I believe so.
I wonder if I get the call up to do the comms.
It sounds like it, I have to say.
I got Paul Macefield there and me and Des. I'm not very good.
Well, did you step in for Des or something?
Yeah.
Did you?
They were busy, aren't they? All down.
You're giving yourself a chance.
Give myself massive chance.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do at that level.
One of them might be someone might complain they're ineligible for the final. You might step in. Do you know what I mean?
It'll be one of those. Penders commentated on the semi-final. We should get a chance in the final.
Totally.
Do your Skype sound again, Nick. Hey, team news is in for those 10 o'clock games. Only 20 minutes left of the show. That's gone very quickly, hasn't it?
Wow.
3 hours seems like a long time, but not when you're in good company.
Oh.
Let's get some team news, shall we, first up? Nick Harris is watching Leicester against Crystal Palace.
Too long to go before kick-off then at the King Power Stadium. Two informed sides going head-to-head. Leicester against Crystal Palace. A couple of changes to tell you about. Riyad Mahrez returns to the starting 11 for Leicester City. Shijinji Okazaki steps down. As for the opposition, 3 changes for them. Bakary Sako is preferred to Wilfried Zaha. Fraser Campbell leads the line because, of course, Dwight Gale is suspended after being sent off last week. And Adrian Mariappa replaces Papa Soare in defence. The teams then, Leicester lineup: Kasper Schmeichel, Danny Simpson, Wes Morgan, Robert Huth, Christian Fuchs, Mark Albrighton, Danny Drinkwater, N'Golo Kante, Jeffrey Schlupp, Mahrez and Jamie Vardy up front. For the opposition, it's Wayne Hennessy, Mariappa, Scott Dan, Brett Hangeland, Martin Kelly, Johan Cabaye, James MacArthur, Yannick Bolasie, Jason Puncheon, Bakary Sako and Fraser Campbell up front. The referee is Mike Dean.
Thank you very much, Nick Harris. Dan's just pulled the betting slip out.
Well, he was just talking about Leicester and Palace, and I thought to myself,
it's with Singapore pools, by the way. So
Singapore pools, nothing dodgy. And I thought to myself, I think I backed Leicester, but I didn't. I backed Norwich to beat West. So I was just having a look at that.
Hey, true or false? But let's get a prediction from everyone. We haven't got predictions for our 10 o'clock games. Yep. Dan, true or false? Leicester have scored and conceded in all 9 of their Premier League games this season.
True.
It is true. What's your prediction?
3-2 to Leicester.
Good. Even Jamie Vardy has scored 10 goals in his last 10 league matches. True or false?
Yes, true.
It is true. What's going to happen?
3-1. 3-1 to Leicester.
Very good. And Patrick, the Eagles have scored 7 penalties in their last 11 matches in all competitions.
Sounds true.
It is true. What's your prediction?
2-2.
Ooh, 2-2.
What's your prediction?
I was going to offer a prediction there, but I think I'll stay neutral.
Palace have won 9 of their last 12 away games.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good stat.
There you go.
Don't know. 0-0. Let's go 0-0.
Yeah.
Norwich up against West Bromwich Albion. Will Turner is watching this game.
Well, the good news for Norwich City this afternoon as they entertain West Brom is that the Baggies are just about the most unlikely side in the division to repeat last weekend's misery and put 6 past them. Norwich, of course, succumbing to Newcastle 6-2 last time out. The Baggies are, bar Watford, the lowest scorers in the division, only 7 on the tally so far this season, despite the much vaunted £25 million valued striking attributes of Saido Berahino. So much for reputations. Although that said, Rondon and Sessegnon likewise could be said to be under firing so far this season. The Baggies are unchanged from the side which beat Sunderland last time out, I can tell you, as far as they're concerned. Norwich making 2 changes. One at the back, which has been an area which has caused difficulty over the course of the season. You could say Norwich yet to keep a clean sheet in the top flight this term. Ryan Bennett comes in at right full back, and Matt Jarvis comes in on the left-hand side for Graham Dorrans. So just the 2 changes for Norwich. A side who, well, could be on the wrong end of things. A bad early start, and you do start to fear for the Canaries. They've conceded 20 goals in 9 Premier League matches so far this season. As I say, no clean sheet, and for all they score at a reasonable rate, only 1 less than Manchester United this season, they are bound to be just that little bit fragile in terms perhaps of the psychological part of the equation. Much will rest as ever on the left foot of Wes Houlihan, who's the man who has all the bright ideas for Norwich through the midfield, although Dumercy Mbakani at the sharp end will be a man tasked with actually putting the ball past Bo Myhill. No easy matter, of course, as we've mentioned already. The Baggies are famously tight. They don't concede many. 15 clean sheets is the much trumpeted statistic under Tony Pulis since he took charge. They've last recorded, though, back-to-back wins way back in September 2014. So for all they don't concede much, the Baggies don't score many either, and all the signs are therefore that we're not going to get a goal glut. That might be something to please the home support, but in terms of the neutrals and maybe the BBC Match of the Day producers, this one doesn't have a headline look about it. Mind you, we've been wrong before. So to give you the full lineups, Norwich have John Ruddy in goal, a back 4 of Ryan Bennett, Russell Martin, Seb Bassong and Robbie Brady. The midfield will comprise Johnny Howson and Alex.
Okay, Will's just going through. Quite he likes to chat, does Will, doesn't he?
But Norwich only playing 5 players today.
Yeah.
5 aside.
Right, prediction time, Dan.
Yeah.
You went Norwich, don't you?
Yeah, you've not got a stat.
Well, I have.
Okay.
Were you listening? How many goals have Norwich conceded?
19.
No, 20. Will just told. What's your prediction?
West Brom to score, Norwich to win.
Okay, Evelyn. Sebastian Bassong has made the most number of clearances this season. How many?
Ooh, 7.
85. Not bad.
That was just a really wild guess.
How many of the 85 have been made with his head?
Ooh, 70?
60.
Oh, closer.
Your prediction, please.
2-1 to Norwich.
And West Brom. Who scored less than West Brom this season? Patrick?
Watford?
Yep, with 6. Your prediction?
0-0.
Peter Shabakovic is watching West Ham against Chelsea.
West Ham United take on Chelsea in one of the 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs this afternoon, and Chelsea will be looking to take advantage of West Ham's very poor home form. Of course, I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek because West Ham have had an excellent start to the season, but most of their good results have come away from Upton Park. So we'll see if Chelsea perhaps can take advantage of that fact and make things a bit difficult for Slaven Bilic's side, who of course are going to this game after a very impressive 3-1 win away from home at Crystal Palace. Chelsea beating Aston Villa 2-0 in their last Premier League game, but also having a 0-0 away in Kiev on Tuesday night. We do have the starting 11 in for you, and it's Adrian in goal for West Ham, with Jenkinson, Collins, Tompkins and Cresswell as the 4 in defence. It's Noble and Kouyaté the defensive midfielders, with Lanzini, Payet and Zarate as an attacking 3 playing behind Sacco. And for Chelsea they go with Begovic in goal, then it's Zuma, Cahill, Terry and Azpilicueta in defence. Matic and Ramirez as the 2 defensive midfielders, with Willian, Fabregas and Hazard playing as a 3 behind Diego Costa. Our referee is John Moss. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff from Upton Park.
Thank you, Peter. Let's get predictions from our co-host today, Dan. Which team has scored more goals than West Ham United this season?
Man City.
Yeah, with 24. What's the prediction?
2-1 to West Ham.
Oh, really? Wow. Goodness me. Evelyn, Jose Mourinho, out of his 52 London derbies, how many games has he lost?
Oh.
This was in my stats.
8?
It was in your stats, yeah. We're listening to Nick there.
Oh, I know. I was just trying to recall it. 8?
No, he's 136. He's drawn 11. Quickly do the maths.
Oh. No, I'm not even going to try.
5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you holding up there? Your prediction for West Ham against Chelsea?
1-1.
Okay, Patrick. Chelsea have conceded a league high 10-headed goals this season. True or false?
True.
No, it's 5.
Oh.
Oh, because you heard me
That-
say
that-
that.
yeah.
That's a bit cruel, actually. I can't just add numbers on. What's going to happen? West Ham against Chelsea.
I think I'm going to West Ham 1-0, I think.
No one's tipping Chelsea to win,
No.
the champions to win against West Ham. Are you kidding me?
Have you seen Chelsea in the last
you
few weeks?
kidding
Have you seen Dimitri Payet?
Have you seen the Argentinian guy?
Have you seen West Ham at home? Oh, I'll take Chelsea. I'll take the champions all day long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Having that. Warren Ashurst is watching Aston Villa against Swansea.
Well, not long now to go until kick-off at Villa Park this afternoon in a game between two sides completely out of form at the moment, with both managers seemingly under pressure. There's been plenty of speculation that this may well be Tim Sherwood's final game in charge of Aston Villa if they fail to beat Swansea. As far as the team news is concerned for the home side, having returned to full fitness, Gabriel Agbolahor is put straight into the starting lineup by Sherwood, who also keeps faith with goalkeeper Brad Guzan despite his high-profile error against Chelsea last weekend. So Villa with Guzan in goal, then Hutton, Richards, Lescott, Richardson, Bakuna, Guy, Jordan Ayew, Grealish, Agbolahor and Gested. Two Ayews on the pitch today as Swansea have handed a start to Andre Ayew, the brother of Aston Villa's Jordan. As far as the team news for the visitors is concerned, though, the big news is that Wayne Routledge has failed a fitness test and does not feature. But Ki Sung-young and Gylfi Sigurdsson return to the starting lineup, having been on the bench against Stoke. So it's Fabianski in goal, then Norton, Fernandez, Williams, Taylor, Key, Shelvey, Ayew, Sigurdsson, Montero and Gomez. The referee is Neil Swarbrick. It's Aston Villa against Swansea.
Thank you, Warren. Let's get predictions from my co-host, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time Villa won a league game?
Maybe first game of the season against Bournemouth.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well done. Your prediction?
1-0 to Swansea, Sherwood to get the sack.
Nice. Have you ever listened to the Football Ramble?
Yeah.
What's his name? The Pompey fan. What's his name?
Oh yeah, I've forgotten his name. I know what you mean.
He's tipped up Sherwood to get sacked by November, isn't he? Isn't that his big thing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, Evelyn, 74 league games have been played at Villa Park. Well, let's take the last 74 league games. How many have Aston Villa lost out of those 74? I've given you all the tough questions, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Thanks a lot. 50?
Well, that's quite a lot. Well, it's half of them, so what's that? 37?
Don't ask me.
So 47.
37.
Okay. 1-0 to Swansea.
Ange, shut up.
Let's move on from numbers, shall we?
Hey, Swansea, yeah.
1-0 to Swansea.
You love the Swans.
Love the Swans.
Swansea, how many away games have they won in all competitions this season, Patrick?
I don't know. 1?
No.
2?
No.
3?
No.
0.
Definitely 1,
None.
I remember.
Yeah.
None.
Drawn 2, lost 3.
I went the wrong
Oh, what
way.
about, I thought they won Man United 2-1.
No, home.
Home.
Ah, right, okay, gotcha.
So you would have gone to did you go to the old Vetchfield? Was that alive when you were?
No,
in
that was,
Swansea?
I went to Liberty.
Yeah, haven't been there. Looks nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. The training ground's nice.
We haven't got team news for Stoke against Watford just yet, but Gareth Freeman can keep us up to speed.
The lineups are in ahead of the Premier League clash between Stoke City and Watford. Stoke riding high at 11th in the table after an upturn in form, Watford in 15th. Now the Potters stick with the same side that beat Swansea on Monday. Earlier this week, boss Mark Hughes revealed that John Walters, Ryan Shawcross and Mama Diouf were all fit for the clash with the Hornets, but only Walters is included in the matchday squad. He's on the bench. No place for Shawcross, with Jeff Cameron and Philip Welshide preferred at the heart of defence. There's just one change for the Hornets from the team beaten by Arsenal last time out, as Sebastian Prödl makes way and Miguel Britos comes in. Well, here are the full team lineups then. Stoke start with Butland, Johnson, Cameron, Welshide, Peters, Adam, Whelan, Shaqiri, Bojan, Arnautovic and Joselu. Watford start with Gomez, Neom, Britos, Cathcart, Ake, Watson, Capu, Abdi, Deeney, Anya and Gallo. Today's referee is Martin Atkinson. It's Stoke City against Watford.
Elsewhere, Burnley beat Blackburn by a goal to 0.
That's a massive result.
Arfield was on the score
Arfield.
sheet. Who's he? Arfield.
He played in the Premier League, I think.
No.
Last year. Yeah, he did.
Scott Arfield?
Yeah. He's defender, isn't he?
Who did he play for then?
Burnley.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's who he's still playing for. Who's playing at Burnley that we all know and love?
Joey Barton.
Joey Barton.
Yes, of course.
Really?
Lucky boy.
Let's get some predictions for that last game. What was that? Stoke Watford. Dan.
Yes.
How many clean sheets have the Potters kept in their last 9 Premier League home games?
Oh, that's a tough one. 5?
No. I think they've kept 5 clean sheets in their last 9.
Yeah.
No, just 1. What's your prediction?
No.
Don't know me. Can't know a stat.
No, okay. I won't try and argue.
No, that's not right. No, it is.
Easiest prediction of the weekend, 2-0 Stoke.
Evelyn.
Yeah. Easy one, please.
Yeah, I always give you numbers, don't I? Okay, true or false?
Okay.
This would be Mark Hughes' 200th game in charge of Stoke in all competitions.
False.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
How many is it then? It's 100.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Well, it's landmark. I'm not going to say, it's his 67th.
Or 55.
Yeah.
Scoreline. I want to say don't care, but...
All you Watford fans out there.
No, sorry. I do have friends in Watford. 0-0.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Watford have attempted the most long passes in the Premier League this season, more than any other top flight side. How many do you reckon it is? No, that's cruel. Is it higher or lower than 300 long passes?
I love it. He asks me these questions, ruins my confidence, and then expects me to come up with
and doesn't even give you a chance to answer.
Didn't even get my Stoke prediction in. Right, sorry, what was the question? Long passes?
Yeah, how many have Watford made?
Oh, right, over what period?
In the nine Premier League games so far this season.
Okay.
Do the maths.
Okay, let's have a think about it. I'd probably 9 games, long passes.
20 a game?
Don't try and put me off now, please. I'm going to say... How
many passes are they going to make in a game? 350?
Oh, I'm going to say it's 131 long passes.
Okay, in the Premier League this season?
For Watford.
Okay, how many do you think, Dan?
I reckon it's over 300.
Okay, Evelyn?
Ooh. 250?
I've counted them, it's 367. What's going to happen in this game?
Lots of long passes. What's going to happen? Watford are going to try really hard, but they're not going to score any goals, and Stoke will keep their winning run, so I would say 2-0.
That's all the football previewed with all the team news. Got 5 minutes left of the show. We can always run over because
that's what we do.
Hey, Argentina against Australia tomorrow night.
Socceroos.
That's going to be a good game.
Not so soccer. Well.
Oh wait, were you talking rugby?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm like.
We just switched codes very quickly. Hey,
but
but New Zealand against South Africa. That's at what time?
11 o'clock.
Kicks off in an hour and 5 minutes. I'll try to get Dave Simonson on, who I was with last night, having a few games of poker. It's good fun.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Can't do it.
What, Dave? As in Dave?
Dave.
Yeah.
Lovely lad.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Nervous.
Why? He's good.
Surely you need to be like harmless if you're playing poker. That's a good.
No, not no good playing poker. Although I did take some
into
cash
this.
off him.
Yeah.
He's a big Kiwi fan.
Yeah.
Very nervous about the All Blacks against South Africa.
Oh, nervous to talk about the game.
No, too nervous to talk about it.
Okay, fine. Oh god. Yeah, I would be as well because it's going to be a score in it, I reckon. I don't know loads about rugby, but what I do know is all the games in the quarterfinals, apart from one, have been, a score in it in the last couple of seconds, winners, So I think that's going to be. I don't know.
It's going to be brutal.
I don't know who's about there. I mean,
well, you do. Form's on the side of the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Well, 52 matches since the last World Cup. Lost how many games since then? In that time, 52 matches since the last World Cup.
Well, they lost against Australia, didn't they, in the Rugby Championship? So 1,
3.
Yeah. So logic would say that they would win, but then South Africa have got this thing where they lost to Japan in the first game, and you could just see them going on and winning it now, couldn't you? And it being like the best.
Would that be
Rugby
like
World Cup story
Spain? Didn't Spain lose in the World Cup?
Switzerland.
And they do look quite good, South Africa as well. So it's going to be close. And then the other one's Argentina, Australia, isn't it? I think Argentina might do that. They looked really good against Ireland, and Australia didn't look as good as they have throughout the rest of the tournament. But
the Pumas have. Just got this
they're clever, aren't they?
Right? Yeah.
They're tricky, aren't they?
They got Maradona in the dressing room for this weekend.
Yeah, he's come back, hasn't he? Yeah,
come back in to help G up the guys.
Yeah, he said he'd come back if they got to the semis, so he'll be there. Can you imagine Argentina getting to the final?
Oh.
But the thing this Rugby World Cup will do is change the sport, I think, because you've got all these Tier 2 nations that have played quite well and competed. So I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years you've got like a 2 Tier 6 or 5 nations, where you've got the top, the Wales, England, France, Scotland, Ireland playing in the top one, and then there's a second league with the Italys and the Romanias and the Georgias.
Do you reckon Italy isn't in the top league?
Based on well, they're not in the top 5.
Yeah.
It depends how you want to split it.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they have a 2-tier tournament where teams from the bottom tier can get up into the, because like Georgia plays some really good rugby and given teams some good games.
But you know the interesting thing behind that, I think, is World Rugby, the governing body, have given all these tier 2 teams. They've obviously given them lots of money in the past, but they've actually given them all top coaches this time. They've actually sent guys who've coached Wales and like in big clubs and stuff, and gone in and done that. Again, I take it back to Harvey when he's talking about trying to get coaches. You know, clearly we're seeing at this rugby that good coaching, and they're actually seeing. No one's really, apart from Uruguay, no one's really got thrashed. Everybody's like, Namibia are getting in there and losing by 40 maybe, where once, I think I was at the last one in New Zealand, and they were getting beaten by 90 points. Japan were getting beaten by 80, 70 points. You know, good quality coaching really makes a difference even at this level.
And if they can change that infrastructure and get a bit more money into the game for these tier 2 nations, as well as the coaching, like you say, the game's going to go. The game by the next World Cup, the game will be even bigger and it'll be huge.
Well, and I also think it's great that it's traditionally been dominated by these, big powerhouses, and you see someone like Japan coming in and really mixing things up a little bit, which I think is a really encouraging thing for Asian rugby.
Because they've got the next World Cup as well, so it wouldn't be surprised to see them being a real force. And then they're talking about doing a Lions tour to Argentina, which would be, who would have thought that 5 years ago?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I want to go.
Yeah, and then you've got the likes of Fiji as well. They're talking about, getting them to play more competitive rugby games.
That'd be fantastic, Fiji.
Because they look really good. So, and
we haven't even spoken about the States and Canada.
Yeah. I mean, you could almost put them into a 5 nations.
Yeah.
Well, they try and do with Samoa and Japan and stuff, but I think it's tricky because there's such huge distances. But
they were talking about doing a tour to Argentina, a Lions tour, and then playing USA and Canada, because they normally play a Lions tour on the weekend and then play a game on a Wednesday.
Right.
They're talking about an Argentina test with the Lions, and then a warm-up game, whatever, against the USA.
A punishing schedule, though.
But it just means these teams will get to play against the best, and it will just develop them much more.
One thing about New Zealand, I have to say tonight, the All Blacks, is I'm loving the fact that not only are they in complete black, they've even ditched all the colour boots, and they've just got the darkest, blackest boots. I just think
looks so good,
class. Yeah, none of this like fluorescent neon whatever.
It does look tidy, doesn't it? Yeah.
God, the polish bill must be huge for them.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock. All the Premier League games are just about to kick off. I think it leaves us with just Nick, look at me through that glass window. Actually, don't. It's fine. Hey, we'll play True or False, shall we, just to wrap up the show? Because True or False with Dan Bond in on the show is really does make True or False. So yeah, let's play True or False.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It's time to play Pundit True or False with your host, Andy Penders.
Yeah, that's me. Welcome. It's True or False on the Andy Penders Show. We try and convince our other co-hosts of a true or false statement and try and get them to vote wrongly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I explain that well, Evelyn. Do you want to start?
Oh. Actually, let Dan go first.
Let's Dan. I think we'll probably just
let
do
the veteran go first,
okay,
and so I can learn a little.
Whoa, you need to bear with me 1 second.
Now, what I thought was really funny, because I had a drink with Dan about 3 weeks ago. We watched the Southampton-Chelsea game. That was good fun, wasn't it? Enjoy that?
That was the best day of the year for me.
Oh, you were telling me all week how Saints were going to do well. He's like, oh yeah, he's got a whole bank of them. A whole bank of true or falses that he just makes up.
I'm struggling to come up with 3.
Okay, that's first one. Okay. Arsenal are the only team to have received a gold version of the Premier League trophy when they won in 2004 with the Invincible team. Normally, the trophy that is given to the winning team is silver.
False.
They had a gold one.
He's used this one before, has he?
No, I haven't.
I don't think he has.
No, I haven't. That must be someone else.
I've heard it before. Someone else. You can.
Well, then you must think it's true, then, Nicholas.
I do think it's true.
I think it's true too.
I think it's true.
It's true.
God, am I
someone
the
else
only
must have
person
said
that thinks
that.
it's false?
There you go.
Only because I was very sore that year that we lost the FA
imagine.
Cup final.
Yeah.
Over penalties.
Scrappy, wasn't it?
Gutted.
Yeah. Patrick?
Oh, we're not going for another one for Dan? I thought.
Well,
I got another one.
Just let's do a Dan True or False special, shall we?
Let's do a hat trick.
I wish England ladies would stop scoring tries so the alerts stopped popping up on my phone. It's 42-6, by the way. Fernando Torres in 2012-13 season was the first player to win 7 official trophies with one club, Chelsea.
What season, sorry?
12-13.
False.
7.
I'm tipping he's not the first player to do it. I think Barcelona players would have done it.
Yeah.
No.
Pedro.
No, he
Iniesta.
was, and then it was Torres. Pedro won 6 in 2010. Torres won 7 in 2013.
Fernando Torres.
Fernando Torres, the Fernando Torres.
So he's gone World Cup. Well,
England just scored a penalty, by the way. England ladies. So he's gone Premier League, Champions League,
right,
Europa League, Community Shield,
Super League,
FA Cup,
Super Cup,
League Cup, and FIFA Club World Cup.
Oh yeah. Intercontinental. Did they win that?
Barclays Asia Trophy.
That's 7.
So that's true then.
That's true.
Yeah, nice. Good
Wow.
fact.
Good work.
Good factoid.
Go on, last one.
It's here, my last one.
The ones on the iPad are the false ones.
No, they're not. This is an interview from Eddie Howe.
Ooh.
Hey, we didn't even get a chance to talk about Bournemouth. I know
Yeah.
they're playing tomorrow, but they're looking like they're going to struggle there.
They're going to struggle because they've got so many injuries. They're now a championship team again, basically, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they'll lose to Spurs tomorrow, I expect. So I was reading an interview with Eddie Howe from the latest online issue of When Saturday Comes. Do you know that?
Yeah.
That's good. The latest one. And he said he's a keen puzzle enthusiast. And during the football season, he completes a puzzle every week as a way of relaxing and getting away from the hustle and bustle of being a Premier League manager. Having spent most of his life playing, living and managing in Bournemouth, he loves nothing more than to complete a puzzle that creates a beautiful picture of the seaside town where he lives. So each puzzle, it's a 200-piece puzzle every week. He's got his table and his study or his office, and he completes his 200-piece puzzle every week.
Why 200 piece?
Because he hasn't got time to do much more.
Right.
Yeah, because he's a busy man. And it's always a picture of Bournemouth. Because, if you've obviously been to Bournemouth.
I love Bournemouth.
There's puzzles everywhere in Bournemouth, gift shops, etc., etc. However, if Bournemouth lose a match, Howe does not feel he can reward himself the following week by completing a puzzle of his hometown. And instead, he will order a puzzle of the town or city of the club that have just defeated his team online. It gets delivered to his house, and then during the week, he will finish that puzzle as a reminder of where his team went wrong in the previous fixture. He then donates all these puzzles to the local old people's home.
Now, this one sounds true to me because it's so elaborate.
Did he do this when he managed Burnley as well?
No, he's only done it since he's been at Bournemouth.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean, because he left? And
No, since he's been a manager at Bournemouth. It's a relatively new thing, last sort of two years. So
why does he go for 200 piece? Because my dad used to have like a jigsaw shop, and it was always 500 word that was the most popular.
No, because he hasn't got that much time.
Your old man has a jigsaw
No,
shop.
of course not. Just trying to,
I thought, how coincidental.
I know.
200 pieces, quite a lot, and they're only kind of like sort of
Are they
that
like
big.
Yeah.
And he said he's got his table, and he does the puzzle, but he kind of does it sporadically, so he might spend.
Now
half
you're
an hour on
making it
Monday.
sound less
That's
true.
right. Why?
I don't know, because you're just so enthusiastic about
I'm always
explaining
I'm
the
always
mechanics.
I'm as enthusiastic about telling the story as he is about doing his puzzles. But yeah, and then he just donates them all to the local.
I'll say true.
I just think that's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it's false.
Absolute
It's
nonsense.
obviously false.
Ah.
I don't know why you'd say true.
Only because you speak it with such.
I wanted to believe it too.
Having said that, someone always does say true. Normally, even if it's ridiculous, like Balotelli getting a paper round.
Too many things, like you had the old age pensioner home in Bournemouth.
So he donated them.
Yeah, donated them.
Well,
too much info. I
I
think.
think am I the only person who's never been to Bournemouth at this table?
Oh, it's beautiful
yeah, it's
there.
lovely.
Yeah, I've never been to
The
Bournemouth.
thing is, have you seen the interviews and When Saturday Come?
No.
They're pretty detailed.
Are they?
So I would imagine that if he said he was going to donate them, he probably would have said where he'd put them. But it's all false, so who knows?
Hey,
Good one.
I think we'll finish there.
You didn't even get to talk about the derby.
No. That's what tomorrow.
Well, that's okay because we're gonna win.
There you go.
Yeah, I think they'll win as well.
I think
They're going to have probably. Well, I've got.
We'll have less injuries.
Because they've got Aguero, Silva, and I'm not sure about Company, are they?
No,
take those-
Company wasn't. I didn't read that Company was on the injured.
Well, he was on the
injury
rested
list.
him during the
Yeah, and there's problems there as well, isn't there? I think.
Yeah, I mean United's really. It's been on a decent form. I think, confidence built going into this.
I'm not so sure, guys.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I watched the Everton game. I didn't think.
To be honest, my heart says 1-0 and my mind says draw, because this fixture is so hard to predict. To be honest,
I'd say who is class? De Bruyne.
Yeah,
he's a great player, isn't he?
Absolutely brilliant.
It just goes to show you, what a good player Chelsea let go as well. He's only spent a year outside the league.
That Sterling's quite good.
Sterling is good.
For me, he is.
Yeah. He's done well.
Martial's looking fantastic since he's come on.
I just think United have a little bit too much. If all of,
but he's still young, so he'll continue to develop. But then again, we said the same about Januzaj 2 seasons ago, and he's kind of been quiet.
I think if Man City had all their players out, they'd beat everyone 3-0, but they don't, and there's two big players.
You see this UEFA case against City?
Booing the anthem.
Yeah.
Booing the anthem.
That business in the Champions League and City is just bizarre, isn't it? The fact that none of their fans seem particularly bothered about whether they do well in the Champions League or not. Is it all based around the whole financial fair play thing? And
I thought it was because of the Seska game where they were supposed to play behind closed door and 650 of them got in to watch it.
I think it's a collective kind of. I think they've had quite a few gripes about it.
And how much money it costs.
It's just bizarre that like a few years ago when they played that playoff run against Gillingham, whatever you want to call them, and now they're saying, we're not particularly bothered about the Champions League.
UEFA fines for England and Scotland as well. 10,000 quid for the English FA for crowd disturbances against Lithuania. Lithuania got smashed though, about 20,000. Scottish have to pay 20,000 euros after their pitch invasion. Polish have to pay a bit more.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. Right, that's us done. We'll preview that all the games, 4 games taking place tomorrow. So we're on there at 9 right, Nick, because the clocks go back. So that means we'll miss the first half of Newcastle against Sunderland.
Yes, we'll come on and the second half will be on.
And then we'll build up to 2 10:05 games, right?
Yes, Liverpool Southampton and the Manchester Derby.
No, Super Saints is late.
Oh, wait.
4:04.
Bournemouth against Tottenham is 10:05. Manchester City, Manchester United is 10:05. And then the Super Saints up against your team, Liverpool.
Yeah, should be a good game.
Should be a good game. Right, we'll see you there at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Bye. See you.
It's a red card, and he should get 2 red cards. That's got the red card out.
Red Card Sports Radio, the best sports station in Asia.